Hey, everybody, it is Kellen Nitro here from Nitro Maniac TV's Wrestling Unlimited, coming at you with a kind of a new thing that we're doing, the classic Nitro Steak, going live with it this time. We're going to talk about the 1991 WWF Royal Rumble tonight, and I got a couple of great contributors, great guests on that want to help me talk about this show. And if you got any questions or comments about the show, please feel free, I should say, to put it in the chat box on either Facebook or on YouTube. So that will be where we can communicate, obviously. So we'll bring in Mr. TL as well first. Hey, Mr. TL, how are you?
I am great and full of supper. How are you?
Oh, same here. I had a great supper. Lots of chicken, lots of noodles tonight and that stuff. So yeah, not chicken noodle soup, but it's all chicken and all noodles.
Yeah,
so
that's kind of what it sounds like.
Absolutely. And we'll bring him in. He was the star of the Christmas extravaganza. Podcaster, voice actor, you name it. Mr. Craig Fraser joins us tonight. Craig, how are you, sir?
Fantastic. The star, you say? I was the star. Oh God.
Yeah, he was the first, second, and third star.
Yeah.
Because it's Canada, we give away the free stars. Yes, there we go.
Yeah, no, low key of the Christmas special, absolutely.
Yeah, if you have a chance to take a look at it, go back on the emails, or not the email, go back on the channel feed, I should say, and watch it. I'm sure it's the perfect party compliment to any time of year, let alone Christmas. So there we go. So it's great. But tonight we talk about the great extravaganza that was the 1991 Royal Rumble from the Miami Arena in Miami, Florida. This was on January 19th, 1991. We'll do a quick scene set here. This was 2 days after President Bush Sr. declared war on Saudi Arabia. And a lot of that has aged well, a lot of that hasn't aged well in the last 30 years, I should say. TL's got a question right off the bat. Go for it, my friend.
Is this the same Miami arena that the Florida Panthers play in? Or does anybody use this arena today?
So this arena, I believe, is deconstructed. I don't think it's standing anymore. Yeah. But this is where the Panthers, when they came out of expansion, played. This was also the more well-known as the Miami Heat Arena.
Right.
For years. So I don't know who the Heat had in the early 90s, but there you go.
The Florida Panthers also, they technically play out of Miami, but they actually play out of Sunrise, Florida, which is like a suburb of Miami. They play at the BB&T Center. So I don't know. I think that was constructed at this time because I believe the Panthers came in 91, but it would have been just built. But yeah, it wasn't in the Panthers rink.
Yeah, BB&T I think was built in the late 90s. So this was the this was the arena that they started their run in. And this is the arena. Yeah, this is the arena that they had the Stanley Cup Finals in against Colorado.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
That went all the way up to 97.
Yeah. So this was when they made the cup run in 96, and everybody was throwing the rats on the ice and that stuff. This is the arena that was in. So
Scott Mellenby. There you go.
Yeah. John Mellenby, Scott Mellenby, Brian Scrudland, to name a few. So there we go. So let's get the shout out to the old school Florida Panthers, the version ones.
Damn right.
Yeah. So there we go. Oh, so we can just go through these basically match by match, and we'll go blow by blow here. I know that, Craig, you've taken got some notes written down for it, so just feel free to throw out, anything as we come along to it and that stuff. And TL the same way too. It's basically it's like a book club for wrestling fans. So throw out anything as we go. So
when you put it that way, it sounds kind of lame. No, I also find it funny that we are going live for a pay-per-view that happened 30-something years ago.
Better late than never.
Oh, 32 years ago. This pay-per-view was 2 months before I was born.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Forget I'm dealing with a bunch of babies here. Jeez. I was 6 at the time. So yeah. I remember the hype for this. I don't think I remember watching this until late 90s with video rentals and the like. So
And again, I had older brothers, so they would go and rent, back when that was a thing, they would rent the VHS tape of these old pay-per-views, and we watched them continuously.
Yeah.
So I definitely saw this when I was a kid. No idea when though, but it's all a blur.
So we'll also present right now that we all watched a copy of the show from this box set. This is the WWE Royal Rumble Anthology complete DVD box set. This was released in 2007 after the 2007 Rumble, and it's a neat little piece. Like, it's got on the inside entry orders for superstars. We've got the longest lasting superstars in each Rumble on the back page here, superstars, the most eliminations, stuff like that, and who the rookies were in each Rumble each year, and a lot of little factoids as well. I find this to be the more definitive piece when talking about the first, I guess, 20 or so Rumbles, because they did such a good job of doing all the back research and that stuff, that it's a little bit better than what you can find on the internet. Although some new information over the past few years obviously has come to light that's made it, that's kind of adds on to it. So that's what it is.
I was gonna say, if that Royal Rumble package came out in 2007, is there?
Yeah.
There's not the asterisk on the 2004 Royal Rumble.
Oh no, this is well before the Benoit tragedy. This was released in like February of 2007. So what happened with Benoit and family was like June. So this is still, hey, Chris Benoit is a member of the roster to be I don't want to say celebrated, but back then I guess yeah. But
I saw.
How did I know? How did I know you were going to ask something about Chris Benoit? I knew it. Yeah, you.
On a 1991 pay-per-view review, no less. That's all right.
I just remember seeing a TikTok at Christmas, and I made me put my phone down and walk away for about an hour and a half. And it was when the family gets you socks and underwear for Christmas, and it just played Chris Benoit's coming out to the ring. And I was just,
oh my God.
Wow.
Oh my God.
I was like, you know what? I'm stoked to get socks and underwear. So whoever made this tasteless
no
meat,
kidding. Yeah.
You're out of line.
Severely out of line. Okay, well, on that note, let's transition to the rising of the Undertaker here. Woo, Undertaker! Below is the Undertaker with all the facts and figures and whatever from this pay-per-view show. And we'll go ahead and start by saying that there was actually a dark match on the show here. And of course, I lost the Wikipedia link that I had here, so 1 second. But it was Nasty Boy Jerry Saggs defeating Sam Houston in 5 minutes and 25 seconds. As far as I know, there's no video of this that exists. And it's probably a good thing, too, because it's just a Jerry Saggs match with Sam Houston. So who ultimately cares, right? But there we go.
Absolutely. Who gives a damn?
But in the to present all of the facts and all of the run times and that stuff, ergo, that has to be mentioned. So we did that. Done. Deal. Cool.
You know, we did miss by watching this copy of the Rumble.
Yes.
Is we didn't get the disclaimer about do not try this at home.
Oh, you know what? That's on the DVD. If you pop the DVD in, like I saw it, but
I missed that every single time. That's ingrained in my head as Rey Mysterio.
Yeah.
I've had 3 surgeries on my left knee.
And they were still using Benoit too. The back injury from SmackDown at this time as well. Him holding his back where it's all locked up and everything. They had not made the swap out of back injuries from Benoit to Michaels getting backdropped onto the casket from the 98 Rumble on it.
Which is hilarious because it looked at the time, but time showed us that wrecked his back for like years.
Oh, it did. Yes. Yeah. Greg, you wanted to say something?
Did he bust up a disc or something when he did like a backdrop right on the casket?
Yeah. I think the lore is he blew a disc out, and that was what kept him out until 2002. Basically, was they had to rebuild it, and just the passion wasn't there to get back into the ring and that stuff. So
yeah, he took a backdrop. He took a backdrop from the ring over the ropes, and usually you would land on your feet to the outside and then take a little bump, but the casket was there too. So his back grazed the edge of the casket as he rolled out.
And it still was that stupid triple wide, triple deep casket from the casket match with Yokozuna in '94.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why they used that.
Because they didn't think of building.
Stupid. Why would you do that? Maybe one day we'll take a look at the '98 Rumble and just, that's a whole kettle of fish to itself. But anyway, we'll start the show proper with we come up on a wide shot of the American flag flapping in the breeze, and Howard Finkel froze to the national anthem. As I said earlier in the weekend, President Bush Sr. declared war on Iraq, so this is the beginning of Desert Storm. There are tons of yellow bands around people's arms, yellow shirts in the audience, which is kind of like the old "Bring the Boys Home" type thing. So a lot of Americana, a lot of USA happening here. Nationalistic pride at its best in the early '90s. So
I was gonna say there was a lot of rah troops in this one, and I was like, because he said Persian Gulf, and I was like, yeah, I think it does track. I think this was pretty close to like the Gulf War and everything that was going on. So
Bush Sr., like I said, he declared war on the Persian Gulf like 2 days prior. So like this event, I think is on if you look at the '91 calendar, it's on a Sunday or something like that. So like that Friday previous, that was like the big worldwide news, is that he declared war. So,
and maybe I was going to say, I couldn't overlook that they did not have a singer for the national anthem. They just let the instrumental play, and people were confused whether to stand up or not. And they all kind of did, but it was the most like, get a singer. It's WWF at the time. They had money. What was it, Michael Goulet?
At the same time, I kind of like that they just did the track. Now maybe it's also my lack of my wrestling fandom. Like I didn't know they did the national anthem before the pay-per-views. Do they do that still all the time? Did they do the national anthem?
Sometimes it depends. About the closest we get to a national anthem is every year at WrestleMania. We'll get somebody singing "America the Beautiful." Right, and the only reason why it's America the Beautiful versus the national anthem or Star Spangled Banner, I should say, is Vince likes America the Beautiful more than the Star Spangled Banner, so that's why he leads the show off with America the Beautiful.
Okay. That and the first singer was Ray Charles?
Yes.
Yeah, so it kind of has this legacy of having these big acts do that song at the beginning of WrestleMania. Right. I don't think any other pay-per-view will do it unless there's something big happening in the States news-wise that would warrant it, like a 9/11 or what have you.
Yeah, like the first SmackDown after 9/11, they had Lillian Garcia come out and sing the national anthem and that stuff. So, that's where it tracks.
I like if you're going to get a singer, and maybe this is my crotchety moment all early off in the podcast, in the stream here, is sing the song and just do the bars and how it's supposed to go, because I've watched Super Bowl or like it's the Cup Finals, they'll always get a singer that they're like, all right, it's time for the national anthems, and it's usually for the American anthem where like near the end, instead of it's like and the and the land of the free, right, and then right, you'll always get the one singer that'll be like, on the land of the free. I'm like, sing the song properly.
Yeah.
Stop it.
You're like we're getting close to Super Bowl time here. I swear they just do that for Super Bowl betting odds. Just because they have that fake over under 3 minutes for national anthem or something, right? And so...
Okay, first of all, let me cut in here.
Yeah, okay.
It's a show. You want to show up and show out when it's a big event and you're doing the national anthem.
Right.
I get it from a Canadian hockey side of things. We see 82 games plus the playoffs if you're following a team, much more if you follow more than one team, and you hear that national anthem every single game, and you just want to get to the part where you start the match. You don't like the national anthem is something to get through. You've heard it so many times, but for other people who don't hear it that often, and it is a big show and millions of people are watching, whether it's live or in the future, you want to sing your heart out on that song. I get some people take it too far and some people take it to places it shouldn't go. I get it. But sometimes you just want to do a little something. It's a show.
I mean, like Whitney Houston has the famous one she did at the Super Bowl where she crushed
greatest of all time.
But she, I don't think she did anything unnecessary in it. I think she sang it exactly how it is. Like, I don't think she put anything too crazy on it. Like, she hit that last note that was like in the jets and everything. Like, that was insane.
Yeah, that was just, I think they did write-ups about that and reports and everything, and different even short documentary films on that, and even before she passed away, she even said, that was just lucky timing. I went for that note just not completely knowing what was going to happen, and then all of a sudden the jets flew over at the same time, and she's like, yes.
But that's America. That's that moment. They don't take half measures on everything. It's hit the high note and the jets go over, and it was beautiful.
Yeah.
That's what you hope for, not playing the dry instrumental and people not knowing what to do to start this pay-per-view.
It kind of, towards the end of the anthem, they got a nice little pop at the end of it and that stuff before they faded into the intro video, but that was, that was about it, right? So,
I want to feel like I'm watching a minor hockey game.
Oh, do you? Cowbells included by the mom that's going to be the most vocal throughout the whole damn game.
Keegan! Go Keegan!
If you want that feeling, you can watch New Japan, because there's at least 2 or 3 really high-pitched female voices that sit at the ringside at every single New Japan card, and you just hear them just scream, Tanahashi!
That's the scariest shit in the world, because the whole arena is quiet.
It's quiet, yeah.
And then there's just little kernel pops of Tanahashi. What the fuck was that?
Yeah.
The building haunted?
Naito! It's just over and over again. Okada! Yeah.
Oh my god, that shit freaks me out. I hate
just
it.
Out of nowhere, and you're just trying to, it's a really tense part of the match and that stuff, and it's quiet, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, just a shrill voice, Okada, like that. It's just like, oh my god, fandoms is just unreal. But what can you do? Now, going back to the show at hand here, I've already mentioned the Royal Rumble DVD set that we're watching this from. So, but there's a production, the original version of the intro video that we've seen with the voiceover and that stuff. It wasn't Mean Gene, it was Vince McMahon, and there's a completely different music track as well. And maybe I'll send it to you guys later on. That's something you guys can take a look at it. Nothing very important, just some more of a production note there. But that was just part of the great re-edits of WWE, and one of the tropes that they do is they love to re-edit old events and redub music and stuff, and they claim for like licensing purposes and stuff, but half the time they own their own license, so they're just redoing their own work to cover something up, I think. But that's that.
Yeah, WWE likes to do that, to re-edit the past so they can change the narrative to the way that they want people to see it. Mm-hmm. Much like a George Lucas with Star Wars.
Gorilla Monsoon and Roddy Piper are your announced team for this pay-per-view. This is their second pay-per-view together. They debuted as a major event pairing at the Survivor Series in 1990. So this is their second show, and this is Piper's third show as a color commentator. He was the color analyst for SummerSlam in 1990, and Piper was the answer to Jesse Ventura. After Jesse Ventura left the company, they just threw Piper in as the big match, quote unquote, color analyst guy. So, thoughts on this pairing of Gorilla Monsoon and Roddy Piper as the announcer and color analyst team throughout this pay-per-view?
I'm going to throw this over to Craig with this question in mind. How much coke do you think Piper did before starting this event?
Oh, let me tell you, Ty, I did so much blow before I did the commentary for this. There were so many times where he almost gave an upskirt of the kilt to the camera. like, Roddy, buddy. I was
did.
like, what are you doing? Like, and like, there's the part, like, I don't want to spoil anything. I mean, it's spoiling anything. It's the 1991 Royal Rumble, but like,
Say it's 32 years old. Go nuts.
Yeah.
after the Warrior match against
Slaughter.
Sergeant Slaughter, you
Yeah.
know, like just how he's like, I can't believe that guy. What a low life. What a son of a bitch. And I was just like, he just didn't stop. And I was like, Rod, next match, man. Like, is Vince yelling at you in the ear to keep going?
No, but I gotta tell you something. I've never seen anything like that, man.
I was waiting. He was so passionate the whole pay-per-view. I was just waiting for like the pipe band to start up behind him. Just start playing a Scottish Soldier, which is my clan's marching song.
Very nice.
Roddy
Very
Piper
nice.
came out to the ring always to Clan Fraser's marching song, which is the Scottish Soldier.
Nice.
Oh no, that's not true.
Yes, it is.
No. Piper had like at least 3 different bagpipe songs, and that was one of them.
That was what during his heyday. That was the one he used.
Yeah, there was
I know the name of the one. Oh crap! Something the last 05-y. It's like a really old song.
My Bonnie Lassie's Coming Home to Me. That was
Yes.
That was before WWF though. I think that was his Crockett run that he used it or
No,
something.
but he used that well into WWF as well. Like I'm talking WrestleMania 1.
Was it LA as well? I can't remember, but yeah. Okay, so maybe he did use it in
But it is a shame we didn't get to hear that because that would have been great if he ranted into his own theme song. Shit.
Oh, it's not bolder, no broad of shoulder.
Oh my god.
There's
the words.
There's lyrics to that song. Oh, of course, it's my clan's marching song.
He's going he's going to big into the groundskeeper Willie at this point. Holy smokes.
Groundskeeper Willie is an affront to my people.
Is he, or is he just the most famous Scottish person on the planet? I'm just throwing that out there.
That'd be Billy Connolly.
Well, right now it might. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah,
yeah,
for sure. Or Drew McIntyre if you're a wrestling fan. But
no,
he's
not even famous within the wrestling community.
Yeah. So, this also is the last pay-per-view that we'll see Roddy Piper in the commentary seat, because by the time we get to WrestleMania 7, we have the more well-known tandem of Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby the Brain Heenan doing the commentary, and that's the GOAT. The GOAT pairing for this era, and that's what we get at the 92 Rumble, which is the greatest Rumble ever, and blah, 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 blah. So
not the of that era. I think those two are the best of all time.
Really? Wow.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Better than JR and King.
Better than JR and King.
Really? Wow.
Yes.
See, I'm with Craig. I'm like JR and King to me are like the GOATs, but
the fact that you could have Michael Cole in that era and it would still be the same.
No,
is telling that it was more the action than the commentary.
Yeah.
I was gonna say just that. Do you think because that was the era of Stone Cold, Rock, exactly. Triple H, that helped them be so famous? So many
Absolutely. Because to me, like JR wasn't, not that he wasn't anything special, but it's not like I wanted him to jump over to WWE when he was with WCW, like way before WrestleMania 10. You know what I mean?
My God! Slobber!
My God! We killed him! We killed him! Hey, we broke him in half! Got him by witness! He broke it in half!
Yes.
That is both the best and worst JR impression I've ever heard.
Simultaneously.
Simultaneously, yes. Oh God, yep, for sure. All right, we gotta get into the match analysis here. Our first contest is a tag team bout. We have the New Orient Express with Mr. Fuji taking on the Rockers, and this match itself runs 19 minutes and 15 seconds, and it's a lot of people look at this match as one of the greatest openers in Rumble history. And for its era, for its time, it definitely is. It definitely doesn't feel like a WWF super heavyweight type match. It's 4 smaller guys in there kind of doing quicker athletic type moves and getting the crowd kind of amped up and that stuff. It's kind of more akin to, not on the same level, but it kind of feels like the approach that Bischoff would use with doing the early Nitro shows and that stuff with the cruiserweights. You put the little guys out there with the car crash bumps and stuff to get the crowd kind of into everything, and then you continue on with your show. So this match is to me very solid. I still think it kind of stands up a little bit to this day, and it is indeed one of the better Rumble openers I find in the entire deal. And they didn't have matchup graphics available on the net, so I got some I jacked some photos from WWE.com of some of the action in the ring during this time. But and also this is the to me this is like the definitive Rockers gear. I love the blue with the Zubaz stripes and that stuff that you see in this match with the guys. I think that's kind of what they should make the action figures out of, and that's stuff from there on in. But TL is disagreeing. So
it was when they had like the neon green and the purple.
Okay. Yeah,
I think that's the one from I think it was them against the Orient Express at some WrestleMania.
Yeah, probably 6.
Yeah, that sounds right. That's
the first time they met. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the one I'm thinking of. Would be their like
absolute the one in Toronto in 1990. Yep.
Now, on this match, I need to point out it took forever to get this match started.
Yeah.
I don't know how the crowd sat through this, because they're there and there's not like big LCD screens and LED screens like we have now. They were playing package after package after package, going up to the commentary that the crowd can't hear. All like they must have wasted a good 20 minutes before they started their first match, just talking and listening to promos.
It's about what? It's got to be about 5 or 6 minutes until the theme music hits for Orient Express to hit the ring, right? So
it took forever. I'm like, how in the 1990s did you just sit through this and wait for something to happen?
I don't think he did. I think that was the time where he went to the fridge to get a snack and then come back.
No. The people in the
actual, in the arena. Yeah, I have no idea. Yeah, I have no idea.
They were starving for some wrestling, and as soon as they came out, it was on.
Well, I was going to say it was maybe that build to that anticipation. In my mind, this was the best match on the card. I thought this was the best match of the whole entire event. I was watching, like I was taking some notes. Like I was like, blonde Shawn Michaels mullet. I was like, that's pretty interesting. You got Buddy in a Spider-Man mask on the Orient Express. And of course, the Orient Express. Let's boo the foreigners, America. Let's just. These people from the other side of the world, from Asia.
You'll notice a theme with this undercard is it's all American wrestlers taking on foreign wrestlers in the undercard.
Yes.
Or people that are their characters are foreigners, right? So it's I think it's
there's one match an exception to that.
Oh yeah, the last tag with the Rhodes and DiBiase and Virgil. Yes,
there you go.
But then that's blue collar versus white collar. There, so that's a natural rivalry, right? So.
There was 2 different matches on this card where cops were beating up people of color.
I'm glad you noticed that, because I was going to say that. But thank you.
I saw it. I was like, first we have a big boss man.
Yeah.
And then let's bring the Mountie out here to get a little Canadian flavor.
Beat up on poor Coco.
Yeah. To beat up poor old Coco. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Craig, this said somewhere in this commentary that this is a new rendition of the Orient Express, and I'm guessing it's the mask guy. Who the hell is the mask guy?
Okay, so this team debuted with Tanaka, which is Pat Tanaka from the AWA, and Mr. Sato, who was a New Japan competitor, I believe, or All Japan competitor, one of the two, in 1990. Sato went back to Japan, and they brought in a fellow by the name of Paul Diamond from the AWA, and that's the guy who's under the mask. Paul Diamond was Pat Tanaka's tag team partner in the AWA, with Diamond Dallas Page as their manager. They were the Bad Company, or just Bad Company at that point. What's the name of their team? So that's kind of, 360 degrees of separation. But that was Diamond Dallas Page's first kind of foray into pro wrestling, was as a manager of this team in the AWA. This is about 1988 or so.
Was Scott Hall a part of that as Diamond Stud?
No, that was WCW in 1991.
Oh, same time as this, but okay.
So that's a little bit later on, but yeah. So that's the 360 degrees of Kevin Bacon there. So
I was going to say Tanaka had some great looking stiff punches in this match.
Oh yeah.
The knuckles sticking out, but he would just pull it back at the last second. It looked nasty.
Mm-hmm. Did you guys see the flying forearm that Tanaka pulls out on Michaels from a dead standing position? This is about, I want to say, maybe 8-9 minutes in or so, and that's a 2 count off of it, just from a standing position. Michaels is coming off the ropes looking like he's going to hit a clothesline or something like that, and Tanaka just jumps up and does like a full 360 and nails him with a forearm, which is just sick. I don't know why nobody does that now. That's actually it was a decent move. I was like, wow.
That is a common thing throughout this match for me, is why don't do some of this stuff anymore? Like the way that he integrated I guess TV martial arts into wrestling was beautiful. Like he hold a leg when someone threw a kick and then sweep him with the other leg. And it's like, that looks dope. When he kept throwing the kicks and stuff, and Gorilla Monsoon would erroneously call them crescent kicks, which are actually super kicks, or side kicks. But like that mesh that style that he put together was really fun to watch.
Yeah.
And then the Rockers, I mean, they're just throwing themselves all over the place, dives and kicks and drop kicks and top turnbuckle stuff. And
at this point, they're just, Sean and Marty are really in sync with each other and that stuff. And it's a travesty and a shame that they never had a chance to run with the tag belts for a while during that era, because I think that they probably could have done a lot with them as tag champs. But
one other big thing that I noticed in this match, there's a sequence in the very beginning where they do like reversal to reversal to reversal to reversal to standoff.
Yes.
So they do that in wrestling now, and you get the crowd applause at the end of the standoff, because it's like they just did a nice little sequence for you. In this one, the crowd cheered every time the good guys pulled a reversal on the bad guys, and when they did the standoff, there wasn't like this big pop. They were popping for the moves, not for the congratulations, you completed the sequence.
So this was they didn't cheer for the end result. They cheered along as
they
the process
cheered for
was
the good guys
yeah.
when they did their thing. I'm like, that's so different to what we have now.
Yeah, no, it's a stellar match. I mean, it's like Craig said, I agree with him. It's the match of the night for me. Like it's the one that's a real solid, front to back, and you get that unpredictability if you haven't seen it in a long time, and that stuff of who's going to come out on top on this thing. So it's what you want, right? And gets the crowd right into it. But yeah, so it's a great contest. I have written down in my notes here, it's a wacky double team finish as Jannetty pins Tanaka with an assisted roll assisted roll up, I should say, for the 1-2 free count. And yeah, like I said, I think I gave the runtime for that earlier.
Yeah, you did. 19 minutes.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, 19 minutes, 15 seconds. So there we go. So, and then we get into the storyline and we can swear here, the fuckery of the card itself. We go to the back, and a Macho King is in the back with Sean Mooney. It's an interview in the dressing room, and he says he doesn't care who wins the title tonight between Warrior and Sergeant Slaughter, because he's got a commitment for a title match with Sergeant Slaughter, I should say, but he doesn't have one with Warrior though. So that's the that's a whole deal. Whoa, hey, there we go.
I don't understand his plan either, because he's just like, let me tell you something. I got a plan tonight. I got a plan. The Macho King has a plan. He's going to go and he's going to have a title match with Sergeant Slaughter. You already got one figured out. And then he's like, watch, Sherry's going to go seduce the Warrior. And I'm like, what?
On for this segment.
The world's tiniest TV His smallest TV, he's like, look here, Scotty, they're gonna be on TV. Macho Man's gonna get his shot.
Okay, I'll explain it. I'll say my piece, and I'm gonna throw it back to Craig because this is the funniest shit.
Yeah, go for it.
I just want to say this was the cringiest shit to ever watch, and just to go through this whole thing I was so embarrassed. Like watching The Office, like that type of embarrassment where you can't look away and you're just like, holy fuck.
Yeah,
I don't know what
the plan was. Macho Man had already secured a match against Sergeant Slaughter if he beats the Ultimate Warrior for the title. What he wanted to do was secure the other side of that and get the Warrior to commit to a match against Macho Man if Ultimate Warrior wins the match. Because at this time, I didn't quite pick up on this until like halfway through. The winner of the Rumble doesn't get a number one contendership.
No.
You just win the Rumble.
You just win the Rumble, yeah. This is not for the main event spot at Mania yet or anything. 93 was the first year they did it, but 92 was the first year that, quote unquote, something was on the line with the title, right? But
exactly.
Yeah,
so this is the last Rumble where you win the Rumble just to win the Rumble.
That's right.
And so Macho Man was trying to maneuver himself as the number one contender, regardless of who had the championship by the end of the night.
Yes.
So he was trying to get Sherry out there, and oh my fucking God. He was trying to get Sherry to seduce the Warrior to agree.
Yeah. So we have so we have two of the best stills in pro wrestling history here with this. This is from the WWE.com, of course, the standoff with Sherry and the Warrior.
I like how he's just in a leather jacket and tights.
Yeah. Also, very, very Americanized from someone who's from parts unknown.
Yes. I guess parts unknown is in the US somewhere. They moved it.
Apparently.
Well, and she kept it was the way that she kept saying Warrior. Like, Warrior, give me the match, Warrior.
Yeah.
Warrior, I'm begging you, Warrior. And like he's just standing there just like Warrior, the match, give it to Macho King, Warrior. Why did they fucking air this?
I know.
So a couple of things that I noticed out of this was the picture-in-picture with Savage is hilarious.
Yes.
I mean, any serious tension you get built from this is out the window when they pop up that freaking picture-in-picture, and Savage is just standing there looking and talking and looking like, yeah, you know.
He's gonna take that title shot. He's gonna take it. Oh no, he's gonna look. He's gonna fight. He's gonna make Macho Man. He's gonna take that title shot. He's gonna beat Sergeant Slaughter. He's gonna beat the Ultimate Warrior because he's the Macho Man.
And you were right, Craig. He's watching the smallest TV monitor ever made.
Smallest monitor ever made.
Maybe a 4x4 screen. Inches.
It's not even standard definition.
You looked into the monitor. Oh yeah, we're gonna watch a little magic happen right now.
Yeah. Well, that brings me to the second point is the standoff, the quote unquote standoff. Well, let's just call it what it is. Sherry basically hitting on Ultimate Warrior in order to blackmail for a title shot.
No sense. None. She calls him out at the beginning to get him to come to the ring by calling him yellow and calling him a coward. Warrior, you won't come to the ring, Warrior. You're yellow, Warrior.
Which leads to probably.
And then he comes out and she's like, I'll suck your dick, Warrior.
Yeah, well,
there it is.
Look at the smile.
You know what's happening here.
Yeah, I mean, I have no words for this. This is it is what it is, folks.
The crowd popped and she went to her knees because they were like, "Are they doing this?"
Can you put that back up for a second, Kellen?
I can't. Definitely.
Look at this guy. This the guy that looks so uncomfortable. behind him. Look at the guy in the green shirt. He's kind of like, I don't know. Like,
you can tell that guy was like, you know what? I'm out. I'll see you guys later. I'm going to the bar.
I don't know what's happening right now.
Meanwhile, the one guy holding the Hulk Hogan shirt there in the background is like, whoa, cool. Are I going to see boobs?
Oh, they're saying boob all right. It's coming from the Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah.
This is why you don't do steroids, kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. She takes his jacket off, which is why it's down at his arms in that photo.
Yeah.
And like playing with his nipple. I'm like, the fuck is going on here?
This is the worst temptation scene. Like, this is to seduce the Ultimate Warrior, and it kind of worked to an extent.
You get him there by calling him a chicken shit, and then you drop to your knees and beg him for a title match for Macho Man. I respect you, Warrior. I've always liked you, Warrior.
And then I like how he just goes, no. And then he just leaves.
That's after he almost has. That's after he almost has the aneurysm as he spits and then he's like,
like creams in his pants, and then he leaves. And then she stands up like, well, I tried. Sorry.
But Savage is epileptic in the back too.
Oh yeah.
He said no. He said no. And he starts trashing stuff and just
nobody says no to the Macho Man. Nobody
just runs
says
out.
No to the Macho Man. I'm gonna throw you into the door.
Macho King running down the hallway is fantastic because he has all the grace of a three-legged gazelle. And he's kind of like doing this down the hallway, like pushes the door, and he's like, oh, "Where is he?" I'm like,
well,
this is the worst thing ever.
And the thing is too is he takes and this is proven is that he took the wrong turn in the back arena, and so he ended up in the middle of the crowd out of the dressing room. So that's why he has to run through the crowd, up through ringside and out and up by to where so there's the entrance and then there's the stage off on the left hand side, right? And so he should have hung a right, instead he took a left and ended up completely where he shouldn't have been.
Yeah, because he cuts to the crowd to the platform where they were doing this whole promo, which is, I guess today would have been the left of the stage, of like today's setup.
And that's why you have that awkwardly long thing of Sherry just on her knees screaming "Warrior" for like a minute and a half, because the camera's trying to pick up where Savage is, but they're like, we don't see him. Where is he? And then all of a sudden, oh, there he is. Like it's like hard. Is it hard to find somebody with like a freaking pink baseball or a cowboy hat, I should say, in task? Oh man,
that was one of the best worst things I have ever seen.
And I like how it just like it ends and they're like, and the next match.
Well, part of that I think is just the editing for the DVD, and then part of it might be how it was on the thing as well. It kind of just does go off a cliff, doesn't it? Yes.
Again, I'm imagining this live crowd having to witness this, and then just like this long dead space of nothing until something happens again. It's just like, what the hell just happened? Did she just try to suck Ultimate Warrior's dick?
Yeah, exactly, right? Oh, man. It's...
my kids are here. I don't know if I'm okay with this.
It just... it all goes back to this still frame, everybody. That's about it.
That's all you need to know about this segment.
All you need to know about the segment at all. Just right there.
The smile of the Warrior is what kills me.
Warrior.
That was great.
Immaculate. That is great. That was awesome. So, all right. So, gone through that. Bottom line is Savage is in a catch-22. He has a deal with Slaughter and Slaughter only. Warrior Warrior kind of comes off as a heel off this too. I mean, like, isn't a babyface supposed to defend the title in front of anybody or no,
because he just told the bad guy, I'm not giving you a shot at the title. If I win, you're a bad guy. I'm not going to help you do anything.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there's that. logic too, I guess. So.
Well, it wasn't Warrior. Warrior was like, I mean, Macho Man was notoriously like he was kind of, you know, hard backstage to deal with, but like Warrior was almost insufferable backstage to deal with.
That's right.
Like,
yes. Yeah.
This could have also just been like this was his plan the whole way. He thought this was going to go over amazing, and it just didn't.
Yeah. I think it was overfought to the point where a lot of details were completely missed for this. I mean, this could have easily have happened, you know, as a in-ring segment or something prior to the title match or after the title match itself. I mean, you know, if you know, just have Macho run down and interfere in the title match to the point where Slaughter wins the title, and then they have the standoff like they do today, where, you know, Savage would grab the stick or something and be like, I don't care about the title, I want you, or if you wouldn't give me a deal for a title match, so now I want, you know, you at WrestleMania or something, right? So,
you know,
right.
I think about this quite a bit, is that back in the early 90s, there's actually a company up here in Canada where furniture store, and they notoriously used to put out bad Christmas commercials on purpose so you would remember them forever. And it would work because you would never forget them, or you never forget the store.
Right.
So I'm wondering, like, was this purposely bad so that people would talk about this forever? Because I swear to God, next time this comes up in any form of conversation, I am going to recommend to people immediately watch this segment and see if you can make it through without cringing.
Yeah. It's very cringeworthy. Yeah.
Like, it is the best, worst thing I've ever seen.
It's pretty bad.
It is pretty bad, yes.
So. Like, I wonder, was that on purpose? Do you think they put this much lack of detail there because there was nobody to explain to them that something should happen? Or, like, the legacy of this is going to go on and on.
Oh, it's evergreened already, yes.
Yeah.
It could also just be bad writing. But when something is so bad and makes you cringe so hard, sometimes that's like The Room. The movie The Room is so bad.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Like, the writing is god awful, but that movie is never going to go away. People will still watch it at the Garneau Theater on the weekends. Like, I think they do Saturday night showing still. It's just it's just so bad it's good, and people will just keep watching it.
Oh, hi, Craig.
Yeah, exactly.
Hi, Mark. Anyway, how was your
I did not sleep with her. I did not. Oh, hi, doggy. Which I think The Room is still about 4 or 5 years away from 1991 at this point. I think that was released in 96 or 97 or something like that.
That was 2000.
Oh, wow. Okay, so it's like a good decade ahead. All right, well, then never mind.
Yeah, moving on.
Moving on, our next contest is the Barbarian with Bobby Heenan versus the Big Boss Man. This was the Boss Man basically running through the Heenan family prior to WrestleMania 7 and the big blow-off for the Intercontinental title match with Mr. Perfect at WrestleMania 7. So basically, in order to get the Perfect, you have to get through all of Bobby Heenan's family members. So Barbarian, Haku, and I think that's about it at that time before Mr. Perfect, right? So you get through to both of them, you get the shot at the title, right? So the contest itself runs what's the run time here? It is 14 minutes and 15 seconds, and it's your typical super heavyweight matchup from the era. WWE kind of prodding, and you know, a lot of rest spots, a couple of big power moves and that stuff. I mean, Barbarian hits a pile driver during this match, and the crowd kind of mildly reacts during it. And then the finish of this thing is Barbarian hits his patented second rope staggered clothesline earlier in the match, so he tries to go for it again, but Bossman catches him and rolls him over for the 1-2-3 count. That's the one thing about watching Barbarian matches. He had a really cool kind of second rope big man clothesline thing where he would actually like take a step to the right a little bit and kind of widen his stance before jumping off the rope. And I always thought that was kind of cool, you know, seeing that. But this match again is just reflective of what WWF was pushing at that era. It is super heavyweight snore fests for the most part of it.
Big meaty man pumping meat.
Yeah, exactly.
Big meaty man.
Exactly.
Right. Big meaty man, slap meat.
I was gonna say in this match, like,
Mhm.
why did the Big Boss Man, like, I didn't really watch this era a lot when I was a kid. Did the Big Boss Man always wrestle with his shirt on?
Yes.
Yes. It wasn't like if he did it up, it would, like, I get it, but like his shirt was like had like one button left on it, and it was just hanging open, and he just looked like a divorced dad. Just like a divorced dad fighting a bodybuilder, and he was like, "Oh God, what did I like? What did my kids talk me into this?"
Yeah. Oh my God.
No, that's so true.
That's funny.
That look was awful. He should have had some kind of actual wrestling attire, and he did later on when he came back in the Attitude Era.
Yeah,
he had a vest with the SWAT team pants or whatever.
Yeah, kind of like a SWAT officer a little bit.
Yes, but in this era, it was classically
look,
the police pants with the stripe and the light blue shirt, like Officer Winslow.
Oh yeah,
he goes out there and he loses his shirt, flapping everywhere. Barbarian was massive.
Yeah. Oh, this is a year before the Zahorian steroid stuff. So
yeah,
this is
so these guys were like some of these guys were jacked.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I don't know. I think Barbarian was natural. I mean, it's pretty natural when your traps are about 5 inches off your shoulders, just like Brock Lesnar pre-2000 era.
Or like you could see every muscle in his leg. It was like, holy shit.
It always looked like he was flexing.
Yes. It always looked like he was flexing. Time. That's exactly it. Barbarian was like massively huge. And Big Boss Man was a tall guy too, but he kind of looked Kevin Owens fat because of the attire.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this match was a snooze fest. I think the crowd was into it because they liked the characters at the time.
Okay.
They were very cartoony characters. Absolutely. You have a police guard against a friggin' barbarian.
Yes, a cop versus like it looked like a bad 80s like action time travel movie.
Yeah.
Like straight to VHS.
Like, the cop with his beat stick, and there's like this barbarian standing him down. Like you almost think that the soundtrack would be like square it off.
Yeah. The Boss Man's theme song was like 80 sounding too for 1991.
What
the Hard Times theme song?
Times.
Yeah.
Hard Times.
Yeah.
Seeger did this song. Chevrolet Silverado.
Oh my God.
Not sponsored.
God.
But you know what? For me, the only takeaway from this match is how big the wrestlers were back then. Like,
they're massive,
there were no cruiserweights, there were no little guys. These were big ass dudes.
No, the guys in your opening contest there are your smallest guys on the roster. Like Jannetty and Michaels are the smallest guys at that time, and Jannetty and Michaels are
small.
They're both well over 6 feet. So it's like, you know.
No, but the size too. Like you don't see I like the guy, but you don't see an Adam Cole sized dude out there.
No, not during that era.
Hell no, no.
Because they'd be announcers. Like that's probably like the Sean Mooney build.
Yeah, Sean Mooney was the smallest guy we saw, and he was about the size of like Adam Cole.
Yeah. Well, he's got a suit on, but you know what I mean.
Or Mean Gene.
Yeah, Mean Gene ain't jumping in the ring anytime.
No. All right, let's move to the next one as Piper and Monsoon tee up. I don't know what with another line of folk in his system.
All right, well. Actually, Sean Mooney has Sergeant Slaughter and General Adnan in the back. And Slaughter says, if you think there's turmoil in the world today, wait until he leaves this area and heads to the ring to take on the ultimate puke.
Oh, yeah. See, the first of all, it's like, okay, and like because this was Slaughter was doing his, like, he had turned to like the Arabian side or something, right? Or he had like betrayed.
He's a Saudi Arabian sympathizer.
Yes.
Yes. And they're like, all right, so we're just gonna get this guy to like ramble in Arabic for a bit. Nobody knows what he's saying, but we're just gonna let him go. General Adnan, we're just gonna let him go. And then Sergeant Slaughter comes on. He's basically just Sergeant Slaughter, but he's like meaner than usual Sergeant Slaughter, and everybody's a puke. You're a puke, with his like chin down to the floor. Ultimate puke. You're a puke. He's a puke. And I'm like, he likes calling people puke.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ultimate
Yeah, it was kind of his thing.
That was his insult for everybody.
Puke. Puke man heart. The hit puke.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely a retread at this point for Slaughter. They had just recently brought him back in and slapped him with the Iraqi sympathizer gimmick. So
I just want to toss names to Craig and see if he can make it into a puke with Sergeant Slaughter.
Okay.
Macho Man.
The macho puke.
Roddy Piper.
Rowdy pukey Piper.
Mr. Perfect.
Mr. Puke.
Mr. Puke.
Mr. Puke.
Greg the Hammer Valentine.
Greg the Puke Valentine. Greg the Hammer Puke.
Craig the Hammer Puke. Oh God. Wow. Wow.
The $1 million puke.
But low key, that's exactly what he would say in promos.
That's the promo. That's if you wanted to know what the promo was like, that's the promo. So
That's a quarter.
I don't mean to be me. It was just an observation.
yes.
But Kellen, if you had an army hat and no glasses,
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying. There's a little resemblance.
Okay.
There's a little resemblance.
Yes.
You know this.
Sorry, of what? What are you resembling to? Sergeant Slaughter to what?
You.
Oh. Well, thank
you.
you.
Don't see the resemblance? You don't see the resemblance?
Puke.
Yeah. I don't have his chin. The thing is that I got a little bit of a chin, but he got all the chin, man. That's
I don't know. I'm just saying, no glasses and an army helmet. You might be able to pull it off for Halloween.
oh, maybe. That's it.
Just call everybody puke.
Yeah, puke. Stand at attention. Right. Yeah. So then we go to Warrior, Ultimate Warrior, who's in the back with me and Gene.
Oh my God.
Gene almost called the Ultimate Warrior the Ultimate Oreo off the top of the thing, off the top of the promo. If you watch
That's
it
just
back,
a pronunciation thing, right?
yeah,
The Ultimate Horror.
yeah. I also have written down. I'd explain the promo, but it is pure gibberish, and yeah, it is, which is what you got with Ultimate Warrior with every single promo.
I tried so hard to dissect that. I was like,
Yeah.
what the fuck did he say?
I gave up.
He's just snorting and flexing. He's like, oh, I'm. I was like, Gene Fighter's like, wow, that's interesting. There, Ultimate Warrior, ready to go out.
Oh, Warrior will.
I'm just like, I was like, this guy was over.
Yeah, yeah.
And also,
not
all of
only
his
over
acting,
the champ.
all of his acting was done in his arms. There was
Yeah, yeah.
And then finally,
I feel that blue sky backdrop that they used for the interviews back then and that stuff doesn't get enough love. So I'm going to pass all the love to that. That backdrop is solid. You see it in like everything from that era.
yeah, you do. Yeah, the sky blue backdrop with the WWF logo in the back.
Yep, and they have the little stylistic bars kind of separating out, and then they just mount whatever the pay-per-view logo is in the middle of it. You know?
Yep.
Yeah.
Can we at least attempt to figure out what Ultimate Warrior said in that promo?
Something Slaughter, something. I have Warriors.
See, okay,
USA,
yes.
maybe, I don't know.
That's the part I never understood. Like, who are the Warriors he's talking of?
He's talking. That's his Hulkamaniacs. That's
Or the Warriors?
The Warriors, yes.
But the Warriors speak to him.
Yeah. Well,
At night.
Hogan would always say the little Hulkamaniacs, right? That's all the
But that's
kids
clearly
cheering,
children
right?
who buy his merch.
Yes.
He's talking about the warriors that like speak down to him and tell him things.
Yeah,
and
that I couldn't tell you. That is.
I'm like, this is
I'm
a
as
little.
lost as you are.
Yeah.
Well, it was a thing, and it does happen. So there we go.
Almost as awkward as the promo he did when he came back and put the mask on in the middle of the ring. It was,
I was
very
there.
ominous.
You were there for that.
I was there for that. Yeah, I was there. That was the Raw after Mania in New Orleans in 2014. Yeah, I was in the Smoothie King Center in New Orleans for that. Yes.
Oh wow. Yeah. How was the atmosphere in the building for that? Where is everybody kind of like, oh,
he got a good pop, a good initial pop, obviously, and that stuff, because everyone's like, oh my God, this Hall of Famer is going to talk. If you're inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame, you're guaranteed at least, a semi-decent pop, no matter where you're at, because you're a Hall of Famer, right? So and he came in, and then he started doing the speech, and my buddy at the time and I just turned to each other, and it's like, oh, so this is kind of his unofficial retirement speech from wrestling, because he never really put that out there, right? Yeah, that's that. And then he put the mask on and that stuff, and we're like, okay, but it was strange, but the Warrior character was strange, so whatever, right? Yeah. And then we're flying back to Edmonton, and we get into Pearson in Toronto, and that's when we got word, our phones are blowing up and that stuff, from friends and everything, that, oh yeah, Ultimate Warrior is dead. He died at a retreat or something like that in Arizona, on his way back from, the WrestleMania stuff. And it's like, we literally sat through the man's Hall of Fame speech and the quote unquote retirement speech on Monday Night Raw, the night after Mania and that stuff. And then no less than 72 hours later or 48 hours later, reading the dude's dead. Oh, well, that's finality for you, but all right. So, yeah, it was a very star-crossed experience, I would say. That was very different. Kind of odd to look back on,
Yep. And even more odd is looking back to this promo, and he doesn't mention one peep about how Sensational Sherry tried to suck his dick on live pay-per-view. Not 4 minutes ago.
Okay. I apologize to the younger listeners and viewers of this. Is this Warrior's post-nut clarity?
But that leads us right into that Warrior slaughter match, though.
Match, yes, yeah. So the next contest is the WWF Championship match: Sergeant Slaughter with General Adnan versus Ultimate Warrior, and this is the first WWF Championship match in Royal Rumble history. There was never a WWF title match in Royal Rumble history on the previous pay-per-views or anything leading up to this, because the champion was typically part of the Rumble match. So this is the first time that the WWF title is on the line at the Royal Rumble.
And they put the match in the middle of the show.
Mm-hmm.
Weird.
Yeah. They didn't do it after the Rumble. Mind you, this would have destroyed any momentum that the Rumble would have garnered.
Yes.
Especially because Hogan was the one that took the Rumble. So it's like perfect. It's the number one guy gets the W, and then this shit show.
Yeah, you have to send the fans home happy. And back then a lot of shows did that. Nowadays not so much, but back then there was always a habit of sending the fans home happy in some way. And so of course Hogan winning the Rumble was kind of to make up to a kin of moving the belt off of Warrior to Sergeant Slaughter in this. And you're going to push Warrior into this feud with Macho King for Mania. So now it's, you got, that's about the way that you could do it. Like we explained earlier and that stuff, though, you didn't totally need the angling and that stuff that we saw in the first hour with Warrior and Sherry and the podium and that stuff and whatever. But, the match itself, when it begins, is pretty. It begins fairly hot, and the crowd is big into it because of the desecration of the Iraqi flag by, well, first a double clothesline on Adnan and Slaughter. Adnan gets dispatched to the back, and then the desecration of the Iraqi flag by the Ultimate Warrior there.
Warrior pulled off a pretty cool move. It's where both Adnan and Sergeant Slaughter try to attack him with the flag, with the flag pole itself.
Yep.
What Warrior does is he jumps in the middle of that.
Yep.
And he splits it, and it causes Adnan and Sergeant Slaughter to run headfirst into each other.
Yep. This
I'm
was
like, hey, that was a cool, stupid little spot.
Yeah. So, and the crowd just pops. Like, it's the loudest pop of the evening from the crowd after he rips up the flag.
Well, it's kind of like that moment where, remember when John Cena wrestled Kevin Federline?
Yes.
Ooh.
Yeah. He beat his ass early in that match, and then he gave him the FU, and everyone got the little moment. But somehow at the end, Kevin Federline won with interference, and you're like, what the hell just happened?
Exactly.
Kind of the same format on this one.
It might have been. You might have seen how it all kind of came to pass here, with that, right? So.
It really seemed like Slaughter carried him this whole match.
Oh my god,
it did, yes.
Yeah.
It's painfully obvious.
And then, of course, you have Sherry runs out. She did an outfit change, and then she runs out.
Yeah.
And she runs out and distracts the Warrior, and then the Warrior comes bolting up the ramp, and then Macho King attacks him with a lamp.
Yes, he did.
Random fucking thing. And I was like, and then Warrior's on the ground, just like, ooh. And more of that Macho King running that you love so much, Craig.
I know. Yeah, there's a lot of that.
He takes off. And then so Sherry comes out again. Warrior, grabs her, throws her onto the Macho King. And you take her, and then still loses the match. I was like, fuck.
Yeah, it's all over the place. Yeah.
I don't know.
It's all over the place.
The announcement at the end where Roddy Piper is unsure if he really just won the match and they have to wait for the announcement.
Yeah.
That's a disqualification.
Yeah, he's
and then the announcement from Fink.
Yeah. Piper is Piper is absolutely apoplectic by the end of this thing.
Yeah.
Like Gorilla's disappointed. Piper is like, don't give him a knife because he's going to shank someone.
He's ready to kill somebody.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
But I also like after Slaughter wins, and he's there celebrating. Like, I just like a Warrior just runs to the back, just like he doesn't get out of the ring and he's all like pissed off. He just gets out of the ring and he's like, oh, I'm going for the Macho King. And starts booking it. I was like, this is the weirdest shit. Like, I don't know.
He's going after the Macho King. The new champion is Sergeant Slaughter. I can't believe it.
And the crowd chanting bullshit too just adds to the audience.
I didn't know they did that back then.
Oh, they did. They did.
That was a legit bullshit chant in 1991.
It was a legit bullshit chant in 1991. Yep. Yeah. And WWE with their home video releases and stuff that you see on the network and that stuff and on Peacock and everything has a habit of kind of sweetening the sound a little bit to kind of get rid of that stuff and whatever. And for whatever reason, they let that in here, and I'm glad they did because it was a nice little surprise at the end of that thing. I totally forgot that the crowd did that, but
the editing on this thing is phenomenally weird. They let the bullshit chant go, but you can't say WWF because they'll bleep out the F. And like I was saying, it was like they all sound like they have Tourette's when they do this. I am the new WW champion.
I'm the greatest wrestler in the WWF.
So to me, it's just like, are they swearing? Are they having a meltdown back there? I am the Intercontinental WW fuck champion.
Basically, right? Oh man, so
it's a new land here in the WW fuck.
So,
I also. I was gonna say there's the part of the match like Hulk Hogan is famous for doing the Hulk up right during the matches.
Yes.
And the Warrior has the psyching up. But like when he starts doing his like psych up, like he starts shaking and he starts doing his hands like this and he starts dancing, but he starts like skipping. He looks like one of those Christian Baptist churches where like when people start the Lord and they just start like, oh hallelujah. And they just like
he is doing the hallelujah step. He is.
Yeah.
The way he's jumping up and down on the spot with his hands in the air. Yeah.
He's being touched by something. We don't know what, but something is definitely touching him there.
It might be Sherry, who knows?
Yeah. To that point, right?
I'm sure it's like a prop and everything, but like when Macho King whacks Warrior with the scepter at the end, that's like the last spot. Where when Slaughter pins him right after, like that look
after
like,
a real sloppy elbow from Slaughter too, like it's like the most haphazard elbow drop ever. He's just like, okay,
it's like my dad with his bad knees would have done an elbow drop better than that. Oh god,
oh god, yeah.
It's like, yeah, so there's that, but yeah, then that shot though with that scepter, like that, he laid into that shot. Like that was, that sounded nasty. I'm sure it was like a hollow, like plastic or something, but like man, that cracked off his head.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. It was quite the scepter, quite the shot, and
but it looked more believable somehow.
Well, because Savage was a minor league baseball player, so he swung it like a baseball bat on his head. Is what it was. So,
yeah, it was
I suppose.
Yeah, it was. Yep, absolutely. So, all right. Up next was the match that you, Craig, were most excited about on this card: Coco Beware versus the Mountie with Jimmy Hart.
Yes, I love Coco Beware the arm flapping. That is terrific. He just comes out, he starts doing the bird bat.
Yeah.
Like this is his taunt. Is like jelly arms.
Oh, not his taunt. That's his way of life. When he's in the ring, he'll just be doing this if you leave him alone enough.
Yep. His original theme music when he debuted in WWF was Morris Day and the Times version of what is it, The Bird or whatever from the Purple Rain soundtrack.
Yeah.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yes.
Craig does not know what that is.
No, I don't.
Look it up. It's really good.
Yes. Yeah. So that was his first entrance music, and then
Speaking of entrance music, did they dub out the Mountie's theme song for this?
I think they did. I think they've just dumped in a random, I guess Mountie-esque sounding entrance track for this as well. So
yeah, because that didn't sound like this. Like the sound itself was like something's not right here.
Yeah, it's different music than what's out on the Coliseum video release and that stuff.
I have a theory.
Probably licensing, I would say. But
no. Here's the thing. His theme song was "I'm the Mountie," and he always gets his man.
Yeah.
I'm the Mountie. What does that sound like? In the Navy.
Oh, okay.
Something. So I think.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think maybe they got into a little bit of trouble of plagiarism, so they couldn't reuse that theme song, even though that's his own theme song.
That house, yes. For I Am the Mountie, one of my favorites. Yes. Jacques Rougeau has the Mountie. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, if I was him, I would have come down to the log driver's waltz.
He could have.
Yeah, exactly. So
do the waltz all the way down to the ring.
Yeah, for sure.
Who's this? Mountie was a bad guy. You want people booing that song?
Oh,
well,
no,
here's
the
wild thing about this too is that they couldn't do the Mountie gimmick in Canada at all because it was it's against the law to impersonate a police officer. Wow. So
but it's a wrestling show.
Yeah, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police said no way.
What?
So whenever there was like a card in Montreal or Toronto or something like that, he would just wrestle as Jacques Rougeau with Jimmy Hart.
Would he get to wear the outfit?
No.
Oh.
No. In the States it was a Mountie, so.
Well, that's lame. And so was this match.
Yes.
It wasn't that great a match.
No, it was not at all. The runtime for this fig is 9 minutes and 12 seconds. And I think this match is just to get the Mountie character over because the Mountie character was relatively new at the time. So it's one of those things where you have a new superstar and you want to kind of showcase them a little bit and that stuff. And of course, the Mountie would be the heel that the Boss Man would feud with going into SummerSlam that year. And they had that the match where the loser spends the night in jail in New York City or something like that. And the Mountie lost. So he was in the jail cell. So
oh man. And I was gonna say there's a great Roddy Piper moment in this match on commentary where I think Coco, because Mountie was doing a bunch of offense and then Coco kind of turns the tide for a bit, and Coco hits him with this move. I think he gets him down and he kind of turns and he starts doing the bird flaps, and Roddy Piper just starts losing it. And he's like, "The hell with the wings, go after him!"
The cocaine hit or something? Or
yep.
Yeah. The hell with the wings. Go after him.
Quit showboating. Kick off.
And just just because of his raspy voice. Coco! Get him, Coco! Come on, Coco! Coco! Yeah! Go after him, Coco!
Yeah.
Yo, Coco looked at least 100 pounds out of shape in this match.
Oh, not as worse as he was in 92, though. Like the high energy stuff.
Oh, yeah.
He was
worse.
Pudgy dude.
Krispy Kremes must have come out that year. And yo, the other thing Coco B wears, parrot is a beautiful bird.
Yes.
That was a gorgeous and well-trained bird parrot, that was.
I also like Jimmy Hart is yelling at the parrot.
Yes, he is.
The smack talk between Jimmy Hart and Frankie at ringside.
You see that guy in there? He's getting his ass kicked by the Mountie. You hear that, you stupid bird? Parrot's like, he's like, yeah, that's right. Coco Beware go lose to the Mountie. He always gets his man.
I think the crowd was more up in arms over that than anything else. It's like, come on, man.
Alone.
He's attacking a bird. Come on, man.
I wonder how many times that bird actually like took off during a match.
Yeah, I don't know.
Flying around the arena.
I would
think that they'd have his wings clipped or something like that for that.
I would have been always more worried about one of Jake's snakes. That would have been like, oh, you just lost to King Cobra? Great. It was what? It was 14 foot long? Oh, good idea, Jake. Yeah, it's just somewhere in the arena.
Yeah. It's just over there, yeah. Absolutely.
Hiding in a closet. Somebody's gonna get tagged by a fangless. Oh no, it had its fangs, it just didn't have its
it didn't have the venom in it. So you'd still get bit, but then you know, but the shock of getting bit, they're like, So
a 14-foot king cobra biting you, regardless, it doesn't matter if it doesn't have venom sacs, because the king cobra can with its fangs, it's not like another snake where they hit at the same time. It can isolate its teeth. So when the king cobra bites you, it can actually start doing that with its fangs and start needling. They're crazy animals. But that's or the python. I'm like, that's let's lose that.
Yeah.
No God.
Yeah.
It makes
let's lose an 18-foot python in the arena somewhere. And most of these arenas were built, as post-war projects and that stuff after the Second World War. So they're creepy enough as it is.
And just wait a minute. We're getting word backstage that yes, it is wrapped around the Ultimate Warrior's dick at the moment. We have live footage.
Warrior's dick, snake.
Actually, a quick snake story, because snake people cannot be trusted. You're like, I have 5 snakes. I'm like, you're a weird person. Automatically, you're a weird person. The only people weirder than that, oddly enough, people that breed fish.
Okay.
If you're one of those people that just likes to watch fish fuck, I don't understand you.
Wait a second. Wait a second.
People will have fish and they'll breed the fish. But anyway, the snake story was that I think it was, I can't remember what the lady found the snake. She's like, it would sleep in my daughter's bed, and my daughter would like the snake. It was like a 10-foot Burmese python. And she's like, it was trained, it was domesticated, and like I forget, they had the people that were, she was dealing with an animal control center or something, and a snake expert. Can't remember. Somebody, they got in contact with her, and they're like, "What's it doing when it's lying in your daughter's bed?" She goes, "Oh, it lies right next to it. It lies right out." And they're like, "Oh, it's measuring your daughter to see if it can eat it." The snake is stretching out to see if it can eat your child. That's what it's doing.
Wow.
He's like, no, it's a good animal. He's like, it is a creature. It will eat your kid if it can.
You're gonna wake up one morning and your daughter's gonna be wearing freaking snakeskin boots, but not in the right way. You know,
like people at Anaconda when Owen Wilson gets eaten by the snake, and you can see him inside trying to hit him. It's ridiculous.
I just have a picture of the mom like defending the snake further as it's eating her child. She's just having a slumber party. It's your new sleeping bag. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's massaging her with its jaw.
Okay. Well, back to the
First of all, we're not going to get off that you just brought up fish fucking on a Royal Rumble.
I did.
It happened. This is what you get here on Nitro Maniac TV's Wrestling Unlimited. Unlimited chatter. Oh man. All right. Back to the show here. Back to commentary after the match here. Backstage, I should say, Sean Mooney is back with Randy Savage and Sensational Sherry, and says, no one says no to the Macho King. And meanwhile, while that's going on, the Warrior is pounding on the outside of the dressing room.
and like a high school kid that gets in trouble, he's like, "Get to the bathroom, Sherry." You're like, "Yeah." Right inside of the bathroom, you shut the door, and then your Warrior's like, on the other side of the door. I was like, "This is the dumbest thing."
Yeah, no, it's at that point we've seen that. Thankfully, that's the last we see of that angle per se, with the exception of what's upcoming in the Rumble match. But it's thankfully they put a bow on that, and that's done for the night at that point.
Of the 3-part act, that is the third act. And good Lord, just high school after school bullshit that was.
And Macho King didn't really do anything all day, and he's extremely sweaty.
He's Randy Savage.
Yeah, he's fearing for his life.
A lot.
He's fearing for his life. The Ultimate Warrior's on the other side of the door, pounding very loudly, and they're trying to escape through the bathroom. Or
I don't know where they went. They went into the closet, or like a broom closet, or a bathroom, or something, or a shower, or whatever.
And I think the announcer tries to get out of the segment, but like, this is too scary for anybody, including me. Back to you.
Yes.
What? Well, then how are you getting out of there?
I'm just staying in this dressing room, and hopefully the Ultimate Warrior goes away.
So they flip back to the commentary station, and Roddy and Gorilla, what else do? They discuss the controversial ending of the title match again. Roddy gets worked up yet again, so this is like freak out number 675 already for the pay-per-view for Piper at this point.
I'm telling you, this is the worst thing I've ever seen, but it's the best pay-per-view I've been a part of my life, and I'm so grateful, and thank you to the troops. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Rah, America, we're coming home.
Yeah.
Coming home.
America's the greatest country in the world. But this thing has happened with the Ultimate Warrior, man. I just don't understand. I'm like, what the hell is this bipolar shit going on with Roddy?
That house in Canada. I still love the awkwardness of the Warrior saying no while Sherry is at a strange position.
Can we put the picture up one more time?
Put the picture up one more time. There is no expiration date to this picture.
You gotta move the quote.
I gotta move his fig. I can't figure out which fig it is. Hang on.
He almost looks like
the
he's like he's almost looks like he's
comment.
posing, and he's like, I don't really want to be here.
Boom. There we go.
Like, this is really strange. I don't know.
The most awkward. Well,
the position of her
WCW does some
hand is a
awkward
little
stuff, though,
suspect.
but this is one of the more awkward moments in '91 for sure. more awkward moments in pro wrestling in general, to tell you the truth. But that's that. So,
Oh my lord!
all right. So Mean Gene is in the back with Sergeant Slaughter and General Adnan again. Slaughter says he'll reach out and take whatever he wants. He has no boundaries. And then back to the commentary station again, and Piper freaks out again. There's a small crowd pop this time. Roddy says, hey, it's open doors. We all get a crack at the champ. So he put himself over. Great. I guess they're filling time for whatever reason here. But...
Yo, they were filling there was so much. What's the word for that when you're in American politics?
Filibustering.
Yes.
Filibustering.
Yes.
Yeah.
There was a lot of that going on throughout this whole pay-per-view. And I keep thinking to myself, if you're in the audience of this arena watching this live, what the hell are you doing for 20 minutes at a time as nothing goes on?
Hope the concession was good at the Miami arena in the early 90s.
Well, there's also weird, like Piper had some of the weirdest insults too.
Yeah.
Like when he kept saying they like stick it up your nose, stick it in your ear. And I was like, what? And he's like, yes, Sergeant Slaughter, stick it up your ear. And I'm like, stick it up your ear?
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about?
You can stick it up your ear, Slaughter. No, because
he's trying to censor himself because we know what he wants to really say. But
yes, this is what happens when you can't swear and you got to keep it PG and you're trying your best to keep it clean. And I think at one point he says damn or goddamn, and he has to like stop and like say sorry really quickly.
Yeah.
Right.
And so that one part where you were like, he says, "Hey, you dirty son of a bitch," he wouldn't say that. He couldn't say that. Good Lord, he wanted to say that, but he just, you're not allowed to at that time. So that, you can stick it in your ear.
Stick it in your ear, stick it in your nose. And I was like,
you can go and pound sand. I'm like, are you a grade 2 teacher in the 90s? What the
one more from that house here. He says it's almost getting to Dusty Rhodes commentary crazy. Well, Dusty was his own kind of crazy. Piper was, we think, drug assisted.
Yes, Piper was just loaded on cocaine. Dusty was just a weird, like colorfully weird fellow with a nice, funny accent and a what do you call that thing where you make all your S's really slurry?
Oh, a lisp.
There you go. Yeah, with a lisp.
A lisp. Yeah. Okay, that's a pretty apt description of
because
everything.
you know, baby, Dusty Rhodes is really cool like this, baby. He never loses his temper. Something like that.
Yeah.
It was like Mike Tyson territory.
A little bit, yes. Yeah.
That's the lisp. What do you want?
I'm gonna eat your children. I'm gonna eat your children and knock you out. That's what I do. I'm Mike Tyson.
All right, moving along with the show here. We continue on. We get some well wishes from fans to the troops going forward. So that's that whole current events tie-in thing that's happening. And then we get the best part of any old Rumble pay-per-view, in my opinion, the pre-match Royal Rumble promos.
Yo,
these
two segments back to back were the longest fast forwards of my life.
Okay.
Of hearing the people say "Yay, America" and hearing the promos of "I'm gonna win the Royal Rumble, 30 men are in the Rumble, one's gonna be just blah blah blah." I'm like, oh my god, what a waste of time all of this shit was.
I didn't watch the thank you to the troops part, but then I wanted to see the promos because I wanted to see the old superstars. So like, Shockmaster was in there.
Yes, at the end.
Yes.
He was my favorite because it's just like there's 30 men in this Rumble and that stuff. And Hogan gets in this Rumble and he's my buddy. And if it comes down to myself and Hogan, well,
yeah.
And nobody can do the Diesel Hog without doing the Rock impression from, I think it's like,
absolutely. He ruined that forever. Big Daddy Cool Diesel.
Yeah.
I wanted to. I was actually glad to see Jake the Snake kind of in his prime.
Yes.
Too, though. I like to see Jake the Snake.
Yeah. In his
You
You want to play 21?
Yeah, that was actually a really big thing that I did see in his voice has really changed over the years. Like the cigarettes really got to him.
Mm-hmm. Yes, for
Jake
sure.
the Snake, he talks now. He talks like this, brother. That's right. The end of the whole night said Andre had the beers, and I was like, "You gotta be kidding me, man!" I'm like, Jake, take a Halls.
Yep. Basically.
It was also cool to see young Undertaker too. Like this was like pretty new. Like he just kind of started out.
He was about 3 months in with the company. He's still got Brother Love as his manager here. This is the last pay-per-view appearance of Brother Love as Undertaker's manager. Paul Bearer would be brought in about later that month or into February.
Okay.
Yeah. And so when the Taker Snuka WrestleMania 7 match happens, which is the start of the streak and the whole deal, Paul Bearer is firmly entrenched as Taker's manager at that point. So
time out a second. Did we miss a match, or is this all comes before the tag team match?
This all comes before the tag team match.
Oh wow!
Because then after the tugboat promo, they throw back to Sean Mooney in the back, and he's got Ted DiBiase and Virgil. He says he's bought a bodyguard and a tag team partner for tonight's match. And then we go into the tag team match of Dusty and Dustin Rhodes versus the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, and Virgil. So,
and they didn't give Dusty the mic. Come on.
No. And this is I can see the reasoning though a little bit. This is Dusty's last WWF appearance until he comes back in 2005. He had signed a contract to go back to WCW like earlier that week. So him and Dustin are on their way out the door to WCW and that stuff. So it was kind of a foregone conclusion if you, I guess at the time and that stuff, if you had read like Meltzer's stuff or whatever, that, Dusty's jumping back to WCW. So he's probably losing this match at the Royal Rumble, but.
Yeah.
And Goldust, Dustin Rhodes, he was 22 in this match.
He was, yes. Yeah.
He was just a kid.
Yeah. He had just about 2 years worth of wrestling experience at that point because he debuts in what was formerly Crockett, but it was very early WCW in about 89 or so, and then gets signed to WWF in 90, but really isn't brought in until after SummerSlam in 90 because of the Rhodes DiBiase feud kind of reaching its zenith at SummerSlam that year. And then there's a couple of things, like there's a match on Wrestling Challenge where Dustin takes on Ted DiBiase, and if it's like a time challenge thing where like if Dustin can last like 6 minutes with Ted DiBiase in the ring or something like that, he'll grant this tag team match or something at Royal Rumble. And so Dustin does that, and then DiBiase and Virgil just beat the shit out of Dustin at the end of it anyway. So yeah, so your old school build leading into this thing and that stuff, but it's notable because this is Dusty Rhodes' last WWF appearance, and it's also notable because it's in Florida, which is Dusty Rhodes' basically home away from home, and the Florida fans love Dusty, and they still do to this day. And
that's his territory.
That's his territory. Yes, yeah. So,
and it's such a weird time because Dusty is long past his wrestling prime in this match, and Dustin is so very new.
Mm-hmm.
But they both
literally
look good.
the only. Yeah, they did.
Yeah, they both They both look great as a tag team in this. Like this was as if they continued as a father-son tag team like this in WWF or even in WCW, that probably would have held a tag team championship that year in either promotion for sure.
The only thing is for me is like I think Dusty's too far gone as a wrestler. Like he's definitely going to be an office guy at the end of this match. Like he's not wrestling anymore after this. It looks like it.
I think he went on to become a booker with WCW after this. So he wasn't really.
Yeah.
Now, didn't Dustin? Did he go? He went to WCW, but he went back to WWF. That's when he started Goldust, right?
That's Goldust doesn't come until 95, so this is still 3 or 4 years. Yeah,
and so then was this before? So did he go? He did Goldust first before he went back to WCW and did like the weird like Hellraiser Undertaker thing, where he had like where he had the entrance and he like floated out to the ring, and I was like,
7?
Creepy, 7 or whatever. And he gets in the ring and he's just like, he grabs the mic, he's like, this is fucking stupid.
Yes, that's the 7 thing. We see that in 99. Yeah.
Can you believe the bullshit they got me doing?
My name is 7, by the way.
He's like, look at me. They should have just left it. To be like, stay in there. You're doing fantastic.
God.
This match was pretty good. I thought this match was pretty good. Like, it was a good tag match.
Yeah.
Ted DiBiase did some great heel work with Virgil. That whole transition where Virgil, because this whole thing was clearly because you said the Rhodeses were out of WWF pretty much.
And so you're building Virgil. This is the split basically to build Virgil as he's splitting from Ted, and you're going to launch into that feud like right after. So
the way they did this, you couldn't have built a bigger star right there than Virgil.
No, exactly.
How they dropped the ball is either the WWF is really fucked up for dropping the ball on this, or Virgil really sucked. It's got to be one of the two, because
it's got to be one of the two. Yeah.
After what happened, there's no reason Virgil shouldn't have been like numbered top 5 in the company after this.
Well, he should have had at least the Intercontinental Championship.
By the end of the Intercontinental Championship picture, I would think.
Yeah.
Or something. But like, this is like his greatest moment to ever happen, and then nothing happens after this.
Yeah. And the crowd's behind him. When he turns, the crowd, that's one of the biggest pops of the night is the crowd. And it's a substantial pop. Like, it goes on and on for a few minutes, right?
When he hits him with the title at the end.
Yeah. So we'll break it down as basically they've been playing up this whole, is he a slave to the $1 Million Man or not? And Roddy Piper's all like, I can't buy dignity and all this kind of stuff.
Some racist overtones with this.
There's some very, very racist overtones, and it's finally getting to Virgil, which is the big thing. Before, it didn't get to him. Now it's getting to him, and DiBiase's playing it up. And by the end of this match, which I think DiBiase and them, do they lose?
No, DiBiase gets the pinfall here. What's the finish on this thing? The finish on this thing is a weird roll. Yeah. So Dusty rushes in a rage after Dustin gets tossed out with the knee injury, because he's playing the knee injury thing towards the end of the match, right?
Right.
Dusty rushes in a rage and misses a splash on DiBiase in the corner, and DiBiase just ducks and rolls him up for the 1-2 free count.
Yeah, okay. So, but for most of the match, DiBiase keeps blaming Virgil for taking a bunch of punishment throughout the match that he feels wasn't his fault, and like they're really playing up Virgil turning on the Macho Man for the first time ever.
That's right. So that's the infamous promo right after. How do you spell man? I spell man. VIRGIL.
Is that what Roddy says?
No, that's after the Rumble. That's like a couple of weeks after, when they're setting up. They finally make the announcement of the match for WrestleMania for the $1 million title between DiBiase and Virgil. So,
well, I looked ahead to WrestleMania 7, and Virgil won the match by countout.
Yeah,
I'm like, that's like way to like,
yeah.
I'm like
that's a killer.
That could have been a big for him.
Yeah, and looking ahead to that match ends in a count out because DiBiase attacks Roddy Piper at ringside. Roddy's injured and he's still in Virgil's corner. So they attack Piper at ringside and that stuff. And then I think that's also where Sensational Sherry comes and joins up with Ted DiBiase at the end there too. There's some sort of, I have to rewatch that just to make sure, but that's where she goes, because earlier in the pay-per-view, Macho King loses to the Warrior and his career is over, and Sherry starts beating the crap out of Macho King. Miss Elizabeth comes back and throws Sherry out, and so you get the fairy tale romance between Elizabeth and Macho Man at that time.
Yes,
he does love her. She does love him. He does love him.
To this day, if I look at my brother and I say, Elizabeth. He knows exactly what I'm quoting.
Exactly.
It's that moment where he asks, "Will you marry me?"
Yeah. Man, I love 91 wrestling. Yeah, it's a good era. It's a good vintage. Yep, for sure. Yep, can't complain with that.
Okay, but just on this match, I just want to say Dusty and Dustin do a great job of actual wrestling.
Yes.
For I don't know how, but like for a minute there, I forgot I was watching a pay-per-view just to review it, and I was kind of just enjoying the match.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was it was really cool. And like Dusty's charisma, even in his last wrestling days, holy shit, he was on fire.
Yes.
He could still do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing is, though, is he has a few more runs after this, too. Like he has a little bit of a run, in, I think, 94, leading up to War Games in WCW, where he teams again with Dustin and the Nasty Boys to take on. Yes. The William Regal War Games. Yes, exactly.
Good to do the William Regal. Yeah.
Okay,
War
but
Games.
War Games. No, but
Yeah.
for me, Dusty wrestling past this match is like Ric Flair wrestling post Evolution.
Yes.
It's like you went too far, man. You went a little too long here.
Yeah, this is basically the end.
You think I went too far after this? Woo! The Nature Boy only wrestles when he can. You don't know.
What? Wait a second.
You don't know. The Nature Boy.
What the fuck?
It's just standing there. This is just Ric Flair flying out of nowhere.
Okay, again, that and JR are your best worst impressions. They're so bad, they're great.
Yes. No, it's phenomenal. This is way better than whatever I could come up with for sure. So, all right. Moving on. Sorry. Go for it. One more there. Yeah.
I'm like, now I'm trying to think, can I do a Ric Flair impression? And every time you think that, there's no way it comes out right.
No, you can't.
No.
You want to do it? You have to do it like that. I bet on a winner last night. The consortium was me.
Oh, man.
What the hell are you talking about? I deserve an explanation.
You're me, McMahon. We're gonna be kissing. Woo!
Son of a gun.
Yeah.
So goes Steve Austin comes out with some candy ass.
Yeah.
And then for no reason at all, here's Dusty Rhodes, baby.
That's the Rhodes on commentary. Yes. One more from Dad House. He says the less Dusty Rhodes TNA run talked about, the better. Yeah, well, that was before he got signed by WWE and put into developmental stuff, and we all
don't forget I did a little appearance at ECW, baby, as well. They booed me out of the fucking building.
Oh, well, in some cases they warmed up to him towards the end when he was feuding with Carino. Yeah, that was like Steve Carino and Dusty Rhodes. Carino was the obvious heel in that. Like they booed Carino out of the building, so that was good.
I think it's time to go to the Rumble, hey?
Almost. Mean Gene is in the back with Hulk Hogan. Hogan says it's time for all the Hulkamaniacs to unite. He dedicated the match to the Middle East troops. Mean Gene says Sergeant Slaughter has defaced the American flag. Hogan gets so flustered he forgets the rest of the promo, and Mean Gene guides him through the end of it.
I'm just so worked up, brother.
Hogan also screws up the promo right at the very end.
Yes.
When he's like, oh, I'll tell you, brother. I tell you, this gets me so steamed up. It just makes me, He just looks at Mean Gene. Mean Gene's like, Hogan, ready to go. And around that.
Yeah. Just pose. When all in doubt, just pose.
Just pose. Yeah. Exactly.
Let me tell you something, Mean Gene.
Oh, my Hulkamaniacs.
Yeah. And so we get to the main event of the card. That is the 1991 Royal Rumble contest. And of course, that Rumble match is won by Hulk Hogan, who wins by last eliminating the Earthquake. The runtime on this thing is 1:05 and 17 seconds. With these Rumble matches, sometimes it's just best just to throw it out for discussion amongst us and just kind of talk about some points that we thought we were notable and that stuff, because if we went blow by blow, we'd be here till tomorrow with this thing. So a few notable things in this. Rick Martel sets a longevity record during this Rumble as well that stands until the next year at least. I think this one was 52 minutes, was it not? Yes, it was 52 minutes, which Ric Flair breaks by winning the Rumble in 92 for 60 minutes. And and the next longest person in the Rumble was Greg the Hammer Valentine. He's in for 45 minutes, and that's a punishment because he had his contract lapse and he was going to sign with a rival wrestling promotion, not WCW, but with a smaller promotion out based in California, named the Universal Wrestling Federation, ran by a fellow by the name of Herb Abrams. And if you want a fun Google one night, just Google Herb Abrams. It's quite the story with him. But he signs with that federation. Vince signs the Hammer back amongst other talents that have jumped over there. And the Hammer's first appearance back in WWF is the Royal Rumble. And it's punishment, putting him out there for 45 minutes when his gimmick is, as the match goes longer, he gets better. So I don't understand how this is any sort of punishment to Greg the Hammer Valentine, because he looks like $1 million by the time he gets dumped out. So
well, remember, in Vince's mind, and he said this, if it didn't happen in WWF, it doesn't count.
Yes, but they brought him back, and he lasted 45 minutes in the freaking Royal Rumble.
No, but
the second longest guy.
But the whole gimmick of him getting better as it keeps going on, that doesn't count in the WWF according to Vince.
Oh, because he's extremely petty. Yes, I can roll with that for sure. For sure.
I just like how this match.
Exactly right.
I just like how this match starts with Bret the Hitman Hart and Dino Bravo.
Yes.
Like those two guys could have gone for. They could have done a 30-minute match, just the two of them.
And they were.
It was like, yeah.
Yep, they were paired together on house shows. Yep, for sure. Bravo on his way out to the ring says he'll go through all 30 of them. Does he mean he'll go through himself too? Because he's one of 30. Like he said that. He said, I'll go through all 30 of them. I'm thinking in the back of my mind, that means you have to go through yourself too.
He's gonna dive out of the ring by himself after.
Well, he's got to get out of the ring sometime.
I was gonna say I have a few notes on this match. The Saba Simba entrance is hilarious. He just
oh my lord.
He just walked straight to the ring. I was like, okay. Saba Simba's
What's missed, because this happened a few weeks prior, but when Saba Simba makes his debut, it's Tony Atlas, wrestling legend who just resigned under the and they gave him the Saba Simba gimmick. Yeah. So a few weeks prior, he made his in-ring debut, and it's Vince McMahon and Roddy Piper on commentary, and Piper's like, Tony Atlas, you can't. He's a tough guy in the ring, and he can't do it. And then Vince is like, no, it's not Tony Atlas, Roddy. It's Saba Simba. He went back to Africa to find his roots, and he came back. And then Piper's like, yeah, right. Okay, McMahon. Tony Atlas is,
No, Roddy. It's Saba Simba.
Saba Simba, yes.
He went to Africa to find his roots.
Remember, Roddy, what we were.
You know what you're talking about, McMahon? Stick it out your ear.
Stick it in your ear.
Get with the wings, Coco.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
Oh God.
Which makes it even better is because right now I'm watching Young Rock on TV, and
Yes.
they have a lot of references of Rocky Johnson teaming with Tony Atlas being the first African-American tag team champions in wrestling, and all the things that they go through, and Atlas looked like the bigger star, and all of a sudden he's just now a different character completely. We're supposed to forget all that. Now he's Saba Simba from Africa.
Saba Simba from Africa, yes.
Ridiculous repackaging.
Yeah, it is. It is
Kofi
super
Kingston
ridiculous.
Lost his Jamaican accent at one point.
Kofi did lose his Jamaican accent because he's from Ghana, West Africa. He's never been from Jamaica.
And
This
then
is the closest as close as I could come to early on in the match what was going on. I think this is prior to Simba coming in. So, but you know, a whole bunch of stuff happening there. So
I was gonna say Rick
There we go.
Martel had a fantastic Rumble. Like he had some great spots in this match. I was gonna say one of the highlights for me was I guess because I've been watching Dark Side of the Ring and stuff on HBO, but seeing Bret Hart team up in the ring because I think at the time the Hart Foundation was the tag champs, right?
yes,
Yes.
I think they mentioned that they were the tag champs at the time. But the Anvil, Jim Neidhart, he didn't come in till later in the match. And there was a moment in the match where you can see on a few occasions Bret Hart teams up with Kerry Von Erich, the Texas Tornado.
yes, yes.
And so there was moments in this match where Bret Hart is like teaming up and they're doing spots with like Kerry Von Erich and they look flawless. Like I was like,
They were a great team. Yeah.
And
they would have been a great team. Yeah.
I don't know if they ever did a singles match, Bret Hart versus Kerry Von Erich. I don't know. I'm not that storied. I couldn't tell you.
I'll have to look and see. I'm not sure because they didn't work together in WWF until about 1990 or so, and they were both baby faces, so probably not, but maybe as tag partners for sure. But
well, and Kerry obviously tragically passed away pretty young, but like had an opportunity for these. Just watching them when they were working together, I was like, these two. Like if there was a feud that could have happened, it would have been Kerry Von Erich versus Bret Hart. That would have been absolutely phenomenal match.
Yeah, absolutely. Great. Like had he continued on, I think it should have been the Hitman in Texas Tornado, Kerry Von Erich, whichever character they want to roll with, instead of Lex Luger.
Yes.
Yep. As the All-American. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that should have been Kerry's spot. One thing I've noticed in the very beginning of this Rumble, which I laughed at so hard, was when it's just Bret and Dino, and Gorilla Monsoon on commentary says, well, of course, this is just early into the Rumble. We know these two aren't going to win it. But as this thing goes along, I'm like, wait, what? Why would you say that?
Way to disqualify the first two participants, right?
Yeah, just shit right all over them in the opening minute of this thing. Other thing, this thing ran way too long. The 2-minute counter is just deadly. It's brutal.
It also is inconsistent. It is not a full 2 minutes amongst these entrants. Sometimes you get 2 minutes. Sometimes you got 2 minutes and 10 seconds. Sometimes you got 90 seconds.
It was brutal. The timing on this thing is brutal.
And I think Von Erich and Hart were both out too early. I thought they could have done more later in the match.
Oh, yeah. And Jake, too, because Jake Roberts should have been a lot longer, but Martel gets him out, and they have a program going with each other.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, for sure. Definitely.
One thing that I found amazing is, like, you really see how much talent the WWF had at that time and how they really fucked up a lot of that talent by giving him stupid characters or stupid ideas. Like Kerry Von Erich, the Von Erichs out of Texas, out of, I think it's World Class Championship Wrestling.
Yes.
Head of that territory. Dusty Rhodes, head of the Florida territory. Greg the Hammer Valentine, he was a head of a territory. Martel was a head of a territory.
Yeah, Quebec.
Quebec, yes.
Yeah, Quebec and AWA when he won the title too down there.
Right.
So had a couple,
Mr. Perfect, AWA.
Yes.
Bret Hart, Stampede Wrestling. You have so many Hacksaw Jim Duggan, somewhere in the Midwest.
Mid-South.
Yeah. There you go.
Mid-South, yep.
You have all of these legends who are the absolute heads of their territories, the champions, come into WWF and just be mediocre as fuck.
Yeah.
And it happens today too.
That should have been the Survivor Series match, is like the heads of the territories in a Survivor Series, or like a King of the Ring tournament.
Yeah.
The heads of the
territories.
Even just this Rumble would have been just fine had you promoted it as this Royal Rumble will determine who is the king of the territories
Yeah.
by having all these guys from different territories compete in it.
That's correct. Yeah.
But instead, you make Rick Martel a model. The fuck? Sunglasses, a tan, and some pink tights? The fuck is that? You make Hammer.
It's going to be a great idea. Because I'm Vince McMahon. It's going to be a fantastic idea.
Yes.
Goddamn Texas tornado calling on the winds to blow his way through the other 29 opponents of this match. Like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah.
He's just Kerry Von Erich. Yeah, exactly.
Texas tornado. Oh my god.
Now,
but
midway into this match, though, I was gonna say, do you know why? Like, is there a behind the scenes reason why Randy Savage no showed? Because he did.
On screen, it's part of the story that the Warrior chased him out and he couldn't come into the Rumble. Now, what happens behind the scenes, Mr.
So
Kellen?
behind the scenes, as I've read a few places and a few sources have confirmed it, is he was battling a knee injury of some sort, and that the doctors hadn't given him the full go-ahead to get back in the ring at that point. He also sits out the Survivor Series, so he's not involved that November in a match at Survivor Series as well, which I think the knee injury happened sometime in the late summer, early fall or something like that. So he's not involved at Survivor Series in a match per se. They bring him out during a promo segment where he just basically puts himself over on that podium thing with Mean Gene and that stuff. And then at the Rumble, they pull this off. And so he was supposed to be in storyline, he was entrant 18, yes. But the storyline, as TL said, that's all Warrior basically chased him out of the building, him and Sherry out of the building. So so that's the bitter end, the postscript of the storyline of the WWE Championship at that point of the evening.
Okay.
So
I just like how when they do that and they cut to 18 and nobody comes out and there's another Piper commentary moment where he just goes, "Let's get back to the ring," and he just he just yells it.
I would have loved if Piper had entered the ring at 18 just to take the spot because nobody came out.
Yeah. Oh, that would be great. Yeah. Yep. Gorilla, I gotta go.
Has anyone taken that spot?
Nobody taking that spot. I'm gonna take that spot. Here I
go. What if Brock Lesnar would have came out?
Yes,
really impressive.
A 3-year-old steroid baby.
A 14-year-old Brock Lesnar comes out. He's got all the zits. He's like, Brock Lesnar.
They wouldn't have let him be Brock Lesnar back in those days. He would have been like the cow tipper or something.
Cow tipper, yeah. Bobby Joe. Freddie Joe Floyd or something.
Nope, just the cow tipper, just like Texas Tornado. That's his name.
I just want to hit on some of the young talent that are in this match here quickly, too. Of course, we talked quickly about The Undertaker, but of course, this is one of the last appearances of Brother Love with The Undertaker. Bret Hart as well, the Hitman, gets eliminated by The Undertaker in this match, the 20-minute run. Kind of a good foreshadowing of what Vince's company is going to look like in about 5 years' time, with Hart and Undertaker as your main event scene, right? So, so good stuff there. Did you guys catch entrance number 17, which is a very young, very baby-faced future franchise for ECW?
Shane Douglas.
Shane Douglas. Yes.
Yeah. That's right. As soon as I heard his name when they mentioned like who's the Rumble entrance at the beginning promo of this entire show, I'm like, hey, Shane Douglas. The franchise.
So the story with him is he
we know what the story is. The WWF didn't like him because they think he sucked. He went to ECW and he proved his worth. We've seen that story play out a bunch of times after that, be it Christian Cage or goddamn motherfucking,
Yeah, it's happened time and time again. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
But and it's been revealed by Shane in a few shoot interviews and that stuff in the past years and that stuff, that this was supposed to be the beginning of a John Bon Jovi-esque type gimmick that they were going to give him in 1991. because Bon Jovi was like the hottest thing in music, or one of the hottest things in music at the time and that stuff. So he was going to be like this, I guess, like a rock and roll heartthrob babyface thing or something.
Okay, so both of y'all being the white people, Bon Jovi, that big album that they had with the 2 big hits, wasn't that the 80s, not the 90s?
That was late 80s, yeah. So
I have an interesting story that relates to Bon Jovi.
Okay,
please.
Yes, please elaborate.
My aunt worked in the Canadian film industry for a while. She worked for a production company in Vancouver, and she didn't get to work on any like major big movies, but she got to work on a few movies with John Candy, who was known. He would go do like a Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, and then he'd come up and do some Canadian-made films. And so she got to know him on a professional basis, because she wasn't a producer, but she was like the person on set that was like, I think like stage managers, the term in theater, like making sure everything was where it was supposed to be. So she got to know him a little bit, like, and he was a really nice guy, like a sweetheart and everything like that. And she'd always see him, like, oh, Mr. Candy, hey Kate, how's it going? How are you? Like just kind of like, and so he was just a big sweetheart. And they did this movie called Who is Harry Crumb? And my auntie was involved in that movie's production, and they wrapped and everything like that. And this was 89. Okay. So Slippery When Wet, I believe, was 86. That was like,
that's the big album.
That was the big one.
Wanted, Dead or Alive.
And then in 80, or I think it was late 88 or early 89, Bad Medicine just came out. That was the album with Bad Medicine on it. Yeah. And so Bon Jovi was like the biggest band in the world at this time. So like 89, 90, 91, Bon Jovi was huge, monstrous big. And so at the end of this the film wrapped in Vancouver, and they booked this, I think it was the Coast Bastion Hotel in Vancouver. They had there's like a big banquet hall upstairs, and they booked this entire floor for this private party. And my aunt was asked if she would work the front, like have the guest list and everything like that. And like a lot of people showed up. Like John Candy was there. I think some of the SCTV alum came, like Eugene Levy was there, Rick Moranis was there, Andrea Martin was there. So it was what's her name? She was in SCTV. She was in Schitt's Creek.
Catherine O'Hara.
Catherine O'Hara was there.
Catherine O'Hara,
a lot of these producers, and like, so a lot of these people came and we're there for this party. And my auntie, it's like midnight, 12:30, and my auntie's at the door. She's about to go home, and like ding, the elevator doors open, and these like 5 dudes come out, like ripped up jeans, big hair, bandanas, the whole thing. So they just start like walking into this party, and she goes, "Oh no, sorry guys, no, it's a private event. Are you on the list?" And they all kind of like turn and look. And like, just kind of like oh, we're just trying to go in. And she's like, no, sorry, what's your name, who are you? And like they all kind of look at her like, you don't know who we are. And they're like, they have this whole entourage with them, and there's like a girl on each arm. It's Bon Jovi, it's the band Bon Jovi. And she goes, no, you guys just gotta go sit over here for a second. So my aunt makes Bon Jovi go sit down on like the benches. Like Bon Jovi,
verify your identity. Yeah,
just kind of like sitting there, like just like okay. And then she goes to like what for one of her bosses, like, hey, these like vagrants have just come in here. She was a hippie. She didn't listen to pop music at the time. It wasn't like she had Google. She didn't know who this was. And she's like, she opens the door and she goes in there, and John is coming out with people because they were going out to the balcony to like smoke some cigars or whatever. And she comes out. She's like, oh, John, do you know who these guys are? And John just looks over and he just starts busting a gut. Like he's laughing. He's like, are you serious? She's like, what? He just showed up. I was gonna tell him to leave, and he's like, you almost kicked Bon Jovi out of a party. Oh, that's fucking hilarious. He's like, so my aunt almost kicked Bon Jovi out of a party.
That's hilarious. That's awesome. Yeah.
That's a great story, man. That was a great story.
Of course. 6 degrees of separation. That was all spurned by the baby Shane Douglas in the.
How did we get there?
Because of the Bon Jovi thing. It's because that was going to be his gimmick. Yeah, his gimmick was going to be basically the wrestling version of Bon Jovi. Now
Jericho.
Well, we seen how that plays out though in WCW later that year when they debut Van Hammer, which is kind of a heavy metal rocker dude that would come into the ring and work really short matches. He was a very terrible wrestler. So
isn't Jericho right now the Bon Jovi wrestler?
Sure, but his is more of like the
tribute act.
Yeah, it's more of the act that you see at the River Creek Casino on the weekend.
Oh, yeah.
You know, this is
I'm becoming.
Bon Jovi, that's what he becoming.
But no, seriously, I think Jericho's more of the to me, he kind of fits the mold of like a classic rock band that tours casinos from coast to coast. So he's basically the April Wine / Trooper of.
Also, I just want to point out, Craig, you just hit that note better than Jericho ever could.
I'm becoming. 54-40.
By the way, you guys see in the Rumble match, the LOD just before they took out Undertaker, they just were firing potatoes at him. Like they were just throwing bombs at him.
I was gonna say like the botched clothesline as well, where Hawk just like, potatoes, and the guy that I think it's Hercules just like kind of lays over, like, oh fuck. Like, you actually close. Like it wasn't like and they took a bump. It was more of like you actually fucking punched me in the neck. Damn it. Like, what are you doing? Hawk's just like, I'm on pills.
Oh my god.
It probably was, yeah. Oh god. Yeah.
Right now.
Shit. That's crazy. Oh man. So, well, we'll roll to the end of this thing and that stuff, and it's down to two men. It's down to Hulk Hogan and the Earthquake, and this is just prior to the Earthquake getting eliminated here with the big boot over the rope, and of course Hulk Hogan getting the win at the Royal Rumble.
Okay, I'm just going to interject for a second here. Hogan gets the pop of the night.
Mm-hmm.
Of all the things that happened, including Virgil,
yes,
he gets the biggest pop of the night just for coming out to the arena.
Yeah.
So this is a really strange question. What is with WWF at the time? Vince McMahon has a really twisted version, perception of age, because he gave the belt to the Ultimate Warrior because he thought Hogan was too old and his time had come.
Right.
Although still the biggest thing in wrestling at this time.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And McMahon always wants the new thing and the next thing to come up. Mm. So then why did he make Sergeant Slaughter, who's 10 years past his prime, the champion, keep Greg the Hammer Valentine in the Rumble for so goddamn long?
Yeah.
Eliminate Bret Hart and Kerry Von Erich so early in the Rumble. It's like, wait, you have the old guys getting the best reactions. You're making them the champions. You're squashing the new guys, but you're trying to move out the old guys because they're too old. What the fuck is going on here?
Vince during this era second guessed himself a lot.
Clearly.
When it came to creative stuff and everything. And don't forget, this is less than a calendar year after you put the belt on Warrior at Mania. Yeah. Warrior wins the title at WrestleMania 6, and is the champion, uninterrupted throughout the majority of that. And then he doesn't even get he doesn't get to defend the title at WrestleMania the following year. He drops it at the Royal Rumble. So that's a 8 or 9 month title reign only.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, based on the competitors that were in this match, like towards the end of it, at least based on what I was watching, at least he could have done was have that final two be Hogan and Bulldog.
Yes.
In my mind.
Yeah. Well, and Bulldog makes the final four. He's part of the final four of this thing. So
yeah. And I think it's like, no disrespect to John Tenta, he's a good big man, but I wanted to see, if you're gonna make Hogan earn it, let's I guess it's because maybe this is the controversial take, but Hogan was kind of limited Like he had I mean, that's why they like say like Cena was the new Hogan, because like it's like Hogan had the 5 moves that he'd do, you know, like hold up, boom, 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 Irish whip, big boot, leg drop, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, I think that this could have been a moment where it's like, I mean, I guess with politics and everything as it was backstage, but like this would have been a moment to put Bulldog over. This would have like, I don't know, for me.
Which might have been on the radar leading into the weekend, but don't forget the events that happened the Friday before the Rumble, and of course, you're going to get this at the end of the night anyway. You're going to get Hogan must pose with the flag, with America to send the fans home happy, and you're building that Hogan Slaughter match for WrestleMania, which, by the way, at that point was not scheduled for the Sports Arena in Los Angeles where it was held. It was supposed to be at the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum, the big football stadium that was there. But they, but like a week later, because of all the death threats and the negative attention Slaughter was getting as WWF champion at the time, they decided, nope, we're going to go indoors. It's safer. We don't have to worry about, some dude sniping from the top balcony, one of our wrestlers in the main event or something. Right. And I don't think ticket sales were moving too great either for WrestleMania out at the Memorial Coliseum with that main event with Hogan Slaughter.
Slaughter is 10 years past his prime.
And they move it into the Memorial Coliseum. It's only a 12,000 seat building anyway. They fill it to the brim for that Mania.
Is that the Forum or is that a completely different building?
That's a completely different building. Yeah. Oh. So the Los Angeles Sports Arena was the former home of the LA Clippers.
Right.
And
also the Clippers and Lakers had a different arena.
They had different arenas. Yes. So the Clippers had the Sports Arena and the Lakers had the Fabulous Forum.
And the LA Kings would have had the Forum as well.
Yeah. LA Kings would have been in the Forum as well. Yeah.
Right.
And now they're all at the Crypto.com arena.
It's the Staples Center. We all know it. Staples
Center. I know. Yes, absolutely. These stupid name changes.
It's like, even though it was like Rexall Place before it closed, like my dad still called it Skyreach.
Wow.
My cousin called it. Yep. My cousin called it Northlands its entire run.
Yeah,
Northlands Coliseum. Always.
You going to Coliseum? Yeah, exactly. Fraser would be familiar with this. How many Maple Leafs fans still call it the ACC when it's obviously not anymore? It's the Scotiabank.
Yeah, Scotiabank Arena. That's so stupid. Yeah? Well, honestly, you know what? I'm glad they got rid of Air Canada. That's I've never enjoyed an Air Canada experience in my life. But sorry, I'm not trying to get you defunct, Kellen. Or
hey, whatever. It's open forum.
Okay, I'm just saying, I've never had a good experience. But I don't know. Like I've never. To me, it's Mecca is what it is. It's the holy city.
No, the Mecca was Maple Leaf Gardens, and that's what everybody misses is the gardens.
Oh, it's the gardens. The
shopping center now.
There is a shopping center in there, but the rink is still, the ice plant's still there. There's a university team plays there. I think it's McMaster.
Yeah. Anatomy at Athletic Center. Yeah. It's like on the roof of the place now. It's Ring of Honor used to run. They've run some pay-per-views from that building before.
Oh, really?
Before Tony Khan bought it. Yeah. So there we go. But anyways, all right. So we've reached the end of the night and that stuff. Thoughts, I guess, quickly before we give our rating out of 10. Thoughts on Hogan winning the Rumble? I mean, this is expected, I guess. If this is going to be an event going forward.
Given the time, and like you're right with the news of like the Persian Gulf and everything that happened, that probably was maybe a switch up. McMahon is. We got to give the fan, and I mean, I get it. I mean, it's from a money making perspective, right? Not like what they should have done story wise position, but it's like, give people the rah American ending. I did think it was kind of funny though how Hogan grabs the sign from the crowd that says peace in the Middle East. I was like, oh, okay, there you go, and then grabs him that says Saddam will surrender.
It's very bipolar.
Yeah, I was like, all right, okay,
very bipolar. Yeah.
Peace may surrender to us.
I'm trying.
And I'm gonna make him surrender, brother. What the 24-inch python?
I thought I'd pulled it. I found a picture of it earlier and that stuff, and thought I had it uploaded, but I guess I didn't on this thing. But yeah, there's a photo of Hogan holding both signs at the end. That's out on the internet, and that's something you can take a look and see, and that stuff. And yeah, that's it. So after this, they get the ball rolling towards WrestleMania 7 and so on and so forth. So that's that. So what we usually do, Craig, after these shows and that stuff is we rank the show out of 10.
Ooh,
and we take into account everything: match quality, rewatchability, production value, junk like that. So what do you think out of 10 for this, if you had to give like an arbitrary number, I guess?
I'm looking at I ranked each match out of 5, so I'm now trying to like average it out what I put out of 10.
Well, give us your rankings out of 5 for each match. Yes, absolutely.
For each match. Yeah, sure. I think overall I'll give it a 6 out of 10. The whole pay-per-view.
Okay.
5.5 actually.
Okay.
The first match, Orient Express versus the Rockers, I gave that a 4 out of 5. I thought that was a very good match.
That's fair.
The Barbarian versus Big Boss Man, that was a 2 out of 5.
That's fair.
Yeah, just kind of greased that one. Slaughter Warrior, 2 out of 5. Just again, it was bad. Mountie versus Kokobu there, you know what? There were some better moments in it. 2.5 out of 5.
Fair.
Dusty Rhodes, the Dusty Rhodes and Dustin Rhodes versus DiBiase and Virgil match. Good storyline throughout it. Good heel work by Ted. Obviously, the Rhodes were 1 foot out the door, so they were just kind of putting the work in. But the storyline with Virgil that set up something very good. So I gave it a 3.5 out of 5.
Yeah. Excellent.
I thought it was a good build. And then the Rumble, I mean, there were some great moments in it. Undertaker, it was great to see him young. He did a great elimination with the Road Warriors. Love the hacksaw Jim Duggan pop.
Yes.
The Bushwhacker spot was amazing. It was hilarious.
Oh, we didn't even talk about that. Yeah. So
he just runs.
Luca Butch just goes in the ring and comes right out the ring.
It is Butch, I believe. Yeah. Oh, no, Bushwhacker Luke, I should say. Bushwhacker Luke.
In the match.
Yeah.
Seconds.
It was the record for a number of years as the shortest amount of time into Rumble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the Bushwhacker spots, there were some good funny spots there. Warlord, I forgot to mention him. Warlord is basically Goldberg.
Yeah.
Just Goldberg.
So much roids. So much roids.
So many roids. Oh, Jimmy Snuka. Jimmy Snuka seemed, I mean, I guess another guy, maybe he was already past his prime at this point.
Oh,
yeah.
Jimmy Snuka, like, he seemed lost in that match, and we knew that he had like some substance issues. He seemed very out of it.
Yeah.
Bulldog was on fire. Should have had Bulldog. I put that in there.
He has just jumped back into the WWF at this time too. So this is basically elevating him to be a mid-card face at that point and stuff. And then they use that and squander that at Mania because they pair him with the freaking Warlord in a match at WrestleMania.
So and then I guess this Rumble, I honestly think if it would have came down to if Bulldog would have won, it would have had that. I think it would have been a 4 out of 5. But you got a lame Hogan win. There was I guess that was like the big pop and the political statement and stuff. So I gave it a 3.5. But 5.5 out of 10 overall.
5.5 out of 10. Yeah, fair enough for sure.
I gotta say that Rumble, because we've had our opportunities to watch this throughout the week. It took me 3 tries to get through the entire Rumble match because I kept falling asleep.
It was
so long, and I just kept dozing off, and it took me 3 tries to get it all the way through. I was like, golly.
Oh man, for sure. TL, what do you think of the Rumble itself? Or not the Rumble, just give it out of 10, I guess.
This is so difficult to score because I'm like, if you were in that arena, I would have walked home like just despondent. Like that would have been a 3 out of 10 if I had paid a ticket and watched that live.
Yeah.
That would have been a horrible show to go and watch. Watching it now all these years later, the legacy, the people that have made their careers, who became what and what happened after and all this kind of stuff.
Yep.
Man, I don't know, man. The fact that you gave this to us to go back and watch and we got so much entertainment out of it should give it over a 5.10. but the quality of what we got in this thing is under a 5.10. So I don't, maybe a 5. Let's just give it a 5.
This is a 5 out of 10.
It's a 5 out of 10.
There we go. So
Pretty fair.
The big pink bar says 5 out of 10. So
Yeah,
there we go.
I think it's a 5 out of 10.
Yeah. I'm about in the same ballpark as you guys and that stuff. And I've had the luxury of watching this off and on throughout the years and that stuff. So this is probably like maybe the 8th or 9th time I've seen a version of this and that stuff. So I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. Just not a negative 6 out of 10. It's just 6 out of 10.
6 out of 10.
Negative 6 out of 10.
That's like my kind of scoring.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, that's TL's modern day wrestling type of scoring there. Negative 6 out of 10. Yeah, no, I'm completely, that opener is one of the best matches of the year in any promotion from 1991. It is one of the best Rumble matches on the undercard that there ever has been. I think that it's just nonstop action and that stuff, and it kind of proves how good people forget how good the Orient Express were as a tag team. They were pretty freaking good.
To be fair, that match could have just been Tanaka and Shawn Michaels because
which would have been great too. Yes,
Jannetty didn't do that much, and neither did Maskman.
Yeah. So, but yeah, Tanaka and Michaels just steal the show in that one. It's great.
The match is 80% them.
Yeah. The and the Dusty Dustin DiBiase Virgil thing for where it leads and for wrapping up business with one side and splitting the other side out of that and that stuff. I think everybody got what they wanted out of it. So that's good. And it portrayed well to the audience and everything. So everybody really enjoyed that. And then sure, you got, the Barbarian Boss Man, that's your typical WWF matches at that time. So
back to the 80s action songs.
Yeah.
But low-key, if you showed anybody like act 1, 2, and 3 between Macho Man and Warrior,
that's where it loses luster.
That should be a cringe challenge for YouTube. That would be an amazing cringe challenge for
TikTok. Well, no, just
oh my god!
Watch the monitor here. We're gonna watch the monitor. We're gonna see Macho Man. Sherry is gonna steal tomorrow Warrior and tell me that.
I'm your yellow warrior, black glass warrior, how high warrior.
Well, the big thing to me is if you took a non-wrestling person or somebody who either has never heard of pro wrestling or doesn't follow it or whatever, and showed them this.
That's what I'm saying.
What is their opinion?
Yo, listen.
What would their opinion be? What would they say?
I think that should be some kind of video. We should be showing people.
So too.
We should show people these act 1, 2, and 3s between the Warrior and Macho Man of non-wrestling people to see what they think. I think you're going to get some great reactions. This needs to be done.
Yeah, I think so. I think it does.
Craig, did wifey ever watch wrestling in her time?
My wife did not watch wrestling.
Okay. All right. This might be something you need to show her, just the Ultimate Warrior and Macho Man parts.
I got some people too that I could probably show it to as well now to think about it.
I'll keep that link, but I'll see how Bailey thinks about watching that part. Just seeing her reactions to it. That might be pretty good.
Yeah, this reaction is going to be amazing because
it's cringe. It's pretty cringe. It is super cringe.
We need to send this viral. People need to know about this segment. I don't think it's talked about enough.
Warrior.
Yeah. TL's been like I've been talking to him on text all week and as of leading up to this, and we did a piece for the channel yesterday. And when we dialed in yesterday to talk and that stuff, I seen he had that little glint in his eye, like he found something, like it was like a hidden treasure. I was wondering all freaking afternoon and into today what the hell that was, and now that it's been revealed, I'm like, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
You could see the wheels turning. There was something going on. Just like, I found some gold, and oh boy, time to dig it up.
Dig it up for sure.
This shit's Oak Island.
That's quickly he's gonna rent the Bobcat. He's gonna rent the skid steer. He's gonna dig up that treasure in Oak Island.
Sherry's there with the pickaxe.
Man's got a nugget of gold down there.
And just quickly before we go, Craig, what would Governor Ventura think of? What would Governor Ventura think of Oak Island, for example, and the curse of Oak Island? I guess
Oak Island was a special operation conducted by the CIA. I was in Oak Island. Oak Island, there's a plant there that makes animal-reptile hybrids. And that is just something you don't know anything about. You tell me what I said. You tell me what's on Oak Island. You're such a patriot. I was the governor.
Oak Island in Canada?
I was the governor of Oak Island.
The governor of Oak Island.
Well, there's a conspiracy. Why is there no more elk on the island?
It's Oak Island, not Elk Island, Ty.
I don't know what.
You tell me where the elk went. I built a sustainable home. I built a sustainable home on Elk Island, made out of cheese curds and poutine packages.
Oh, man.
I've got a silo filled of bagged milk.
It's a giant bag of milk in a silo, and it never goes sour because of nanites that I put into it that I designed myself when I was in the Navy SEALs.
When you're off the Gulf of Tonkin or whatever.
I didn't say that.
You tell me what I said.
You tell me what I said. If you're such a patriot.
Well,
oh,
we weren't subject to Jesse Ventura's commentary during Rumble 91, but we had a lot of fun dissecting the entire show. Obviously, with
we should have done that. We should have had Jesse Ventura react to what was going on in the Rumble.
Sensational Sherry does not want to suck the dick of the Ultimate Warrior. That's disgusting. Why would they put that on television? There's children in the audience.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, God.
Wow.
Okay.
Right. Well,
I'm spent. Finish this thing. I'm done.
Yeah, on that note, I think we're going to get to that. That's probably the end of the deal. So,
what do you think, Alex Jones?
Ultimate Warrior's gay. Man, I'm getting pissed.
We're done.
Scott. All right. Well, if you want to follow him and give him the smoke, this is his social media. You can follow him at TM Mountain and give him the smoke. He wants the smoke.
I'm done. Yeah.
And Craig, you've always got some podcast stuff happening and that stuff. And you can follow him on Twitter at that address. There we go. So
yes, you can.
Yep. It's always some good stuff happening there. If you have a show that you'd like for us to check out down the line, maybe later this year or whatever, email us, nitromaniactv@gmail.com, and please include a link to wherever the show lives, whether it's YouTube or on the network or something, so I can figure out how I can get it out to these guys. So that's it. That's
And
half the
please,
battle.
everybody out there, ask Mr. Nitro to send us an Act 1, 2, and 3 of the Ultimate Warrior and Macho Man from this pay-per-view.
Oh, I'll get one
we
together this week.
get
Don't worry.
reactions. I want reactions of people who've never seen wrestling to watch this. Fringe challenge hashtag. Y'all got to do this, man.
Oh man. Yep. Yeah, so there we go. Well, we'll get on that for sure. I'll get something put together this week already with the video, so send it out to everybody. So, but anyways, thanks a lot for watching. Happy wrestling watching, everybody. It's been a great evening taking a look at this pay-per-view as we finally put the Undertaker down and have it rest in peace. There we go. And we'll see you next time here on Nitromaniac TV's Wrestling Unlimited. Do take care, and we will see you.